Hello, everyone. I'm Jake Riffle here with Brandon Walters, and we're bringing you coverage of the Mountain Vista Golden Eagles as they take on the Pooter and Palas. Brandon, what do you make of this game?
Well, I think that this should be a really interesting matchup. We've got a Pooter team coming in here that crushed Douglas County last week. And for Mountain Vista, this is their first game in 3 years without the explosive Judd Erickson at quarterback. And we'll have to see how the new quarterback, Campbell Lancaster, will handle this kind of pressure. Of course, we've also got to mention the story surrounding Pooter's quarterback, Troy McFadden. Last year, he endured a season-ending ACL tear against the Golden Eagles, so I definitely expect him to come into this game with lots of passion and maybe even a vendetta. And we'll have to see whether that affects his play positively or negatively.
Right. I think we'll be taking a large look at both of the quarterbacks tonight on both sides of the ball because, like you said, Troy McFadden, season-ending injury, and it took him out of 3 sports, not just the one. We lost Judd Erickson last year on the Mountain Vista side of things. This year we got a younger guy in, Campbell Lancaster. What do you think of him?
Well, it's definitely interesting because there's been some controversy surrounding this decision because it's only been announced on Monday that he's going to take over from the senior Caden Wetzel, who is supposed to be the starting quarterback, but he hasn't looked too good in training yet, and they feel like moving him to defense and training him in his strong safety position would be a lot more beneficial to the team as a whole right now. So we're really going to have to see how Campbell Lancaster, as a sophomore, will be able to handle this kind of pressure stepping up for the varsity team, playing against a bunch of juniors and seniors and with another bunch of juniors and seniors. And we'll just have to see how he handles this.
Yeah, and do you think this move was strategic? Do you think it was just a move made for tonight, or do you think it has implications for down the road?
I think this is definitely a future move. I think if Campbell Lancaster can get settled in this quarterback role as the starter, then he's got a good future for his next 2 years ahead of him at Mountain Vista.
Great. Well, I'm excited to see what he can do. Also, speaking of Erickson, Judd Erickson, on the other side of the ball with the Pooter and Palas, one of their star players, if not their star player, is JT Erickson. He'll be on the ground against Mountain Vista tonight in a variety of ways, particularly as a running back against our linebacker core. Do you feel like our linebacker core is ready, given the new defense?
Well, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Of course, we've seen the tape, and JT Erickson last week absolutely tore it up against Douglas County. 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was untackleable, unstoppable. So the thing to look for here in this game is to see whether the linebacker core, and especially pivotal guys like Matt Hoopmaker, that physicality in the linebacker core, will be able to stop him from getting out of the backfield and just really be able to tackle the guy because he's pretty much untackleable sometimes.
Right. I'm excited to see how it goes, and a lot of these guys on Pooter play both ways. So I'll be interested to see if Pooter can kind of keep their stamina up to compete with Mountain Vista. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of thinking it might be Pooter takes the first half, but then Mountain Vista comes out in the second or the third and probably the fourth quarters.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting possibility because, as you said, Pooter does play a lot of their players on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. And if they do get off to a strong start here, then what's to say that they do get tired, and then coming into the second half, Mountain Vista can get back on their feet and maybe make this a game if they do go down.
Absolutely. And kind of going off of that, and we kind of hinted to it earlier, Mountain Vista has redesigned their defense. Last year, Mountain Vista was giving up easily 30, 40, 50 points a game, depending on who the opponent was and where the location was. And they had a brand new defensive coordinator last year, Coach Versey, who was relieved of duty following that season, and now Coach Cash is in the defensive coordinator position as well as the head coach position. They're now in a 3-3 front, meaning that they have 3 defensive linemen and 3 linebackers behind them. And we'll talk more about that after the national anthem. All right. And with that, we're going to anticipate this start of this game as the captains walk out onto the field. Our Mountain Vista captains tonight, Caden Wetzel, Tristan Smith, Griffin Barnard, and Ben Hildebrand. So, Brandon, like we talked about earlier with that defense, what do you think we'll kind of expect to see? Do you think we'll reap what we sow on defense, or do you think it's just kind of been a futile effort?
Well, I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they react to this new formation change. And as we know, and as you might not know, our best, as most people would say, the best defensive player on Mountain Vista left last year, Zach Hammer, the linebacker. He was an absolutely imposing physical threat to any offense who was trying to play against us.
He was a monster.
And considering how many points we did give up in those games, even with him, I'm not exactly confident. We'll have to see how this plays out, but I wouldn't be too hopeful yet, is what I would say.
Okay, I guess we'll take a look. It appears Mountain Vista will be receiving the ball after the coin toss, but we'll see as we anticipate kickoff. Mountain Vista and Pooter.
Meanwhile,
So this is Mountain Vista's home opener, and so we have a pretty packed crowd tonight. What do you think about it, Brandon? We got the marching band here. We got a bunch of parents. We also have a great student section, which we were, our freshman year, voted the best student section in Colorado.
well, I think it's definitely interesting not only to see, all the students supporting the football team, which is always great, but I mean, it's also interesting to think about how it could affect the morale both of our team and of Pooter, because, having that kind of crowd presence on your side, and even a band too, to some extent, can both jazz up your own players and kind of, unnerve the other side. So it's definitely interesting, and we'll have to see. Maybe the crowd might have more of a role in this than we might think.
Absolutely. I played the last year, and I remember when the crowd got into it, we produced better results.
Yeah, up here in the broadcasting booth, we definitely saw it.
Absolutely. And so now Mountain Vista will get ready to receive as Pooter lines up to kick off the ball. Pooter lines up to kick. Their kicker, Noah Ford. Pooter kicks it off. Received. Mountain Vista runs. Gets it outside to the 30, 40, 50. He's broken away. 30, 20, 10, 5. Mountain Vista scores on the opening kick.
Let's all calm down here. There's a flag on the field. We're going to have a problem here. And I think this might be possibly a legal block in the back, maybe holding.
Potentially.
I think
it looked like right around the 30
like,
to 25.
From what I've seen, it looks like this one's coming back.
We'll have to take a look.
Yep, and it's on Mountain Vista, and it will be coming back.
What was the call there?
I think it looked like possibly holding, maybe an illegal block in the back. I didn't exactly get to see the play, but yeah, that's typical of kickoff returns. So, I mean, a great start for Mountain Vista.
Right.
Almost.
If anything, it'll get Vista's morale up.
Yeah, definitely.
They already look like a much different team than they were last year. And so Mountain Vista will be brought back to, looks like the 20-yard line.
Yeah, so we just got some confirmation that was a block in the back call.
Okay. Must have happened right around that 20, 25-yard line.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it. I think that was one of the more advanced blockers from Mountain Vista trying to clear up some running room.
Right as that runner broke away, it looked like that's right when it happened. So now, lining up, Mountain Vista side of the ball.
Oh. Campbell Lancaster behind center. Takes a snap.
Oh,
Almost loses the ball, but hands it off to Tristan Smith.
it looks like that one's going to be for about loss of 1 yard there.
Yeah. Do you think Mountain Vista's offense, they run the spread offense, do you think they're counting on them to be fast tonight and aggressive?
I think you should because they've got some good offensive talent out on the wings there. They've got Aaron Albrechtson. He's fast. They've got Tristan Smith. He's also really fast.
Right.
Colton Whiteside's always a good runner, but I think they might use him as more of a blocker in this kind of
let's find out.
situation.
They just handed it off to Whiteside. He
No,
was
that's
able to plug it up a couple yards.
Actually, that's Campbell Lancaster. That was an option play. For
Really?
about 2 yards there. Yeah. That's
Well,
interesting to see.
Yeah, you don't typically see a Mountain Vista option play where the quarterback holds onto it and runs forward.
I wonder if that's going to become a trend in the future here. We'll have to see how they're going to utilize Campbell Lancaster.
Absolutely. And he'll take the snap here.
Looking out
He'll
left.
throw it outside to Tristan Smith, who's able to break away, create some separation. Some great separation, and he's free. He's to the 40, to the 30, oh baby, to the 20, 10. He's all the way home. Mountain Vista scores. It took him a few more plays, but Mountain Vista comes out fighting.
Well, that was an absolutely great pass by Campbell Lancaster, finding the open man in the short space and then letting Tristan Smith do all the work.
Absolutely. That's a, 25 or 85-yard play there. Great job to Campbell Lancaster, 88-yard play. And great job to Campbell Lancaster as he was able to read the situation well, and to the offensive line who usually goes on things. And now we'll welcome out Thomas Hall, kicker.
Well, I mean, that's got to energize them. I don't know what else would at that point. I mean, you have a good kickoff return for a touchdown called back by a flag, but then you come up and on third down, you just throw it, and he goes for the touchdown, long touchdown.
Absolutely.
That's perfect. Perfect start.
Right. It can't happen better than that. And now, as Mountain Vista transitions over to defense, I'll be interested to see about this defensive front. We've been hyping it up so much. We've been talking about the change and the shift. I'm interested to see if it produces results.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an experiment here. We're going to have to see whether that experiment succeeds or fails. But either way, I mean, we'll have to see whether this formation change is designed by Coach Cash to be a more permanent option or just a stopgap while they try and figure out what they're going to do on offense.
Right.
On defense, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. Absolutely. Last year they ran the 4-3 offense, or 4-2 offense, which is more aggressive up front to try and prevent the run game. However, that didn't really work, as oftentimes the run game got beat in the first four men. And so I think the goal is to kind of have those linebackers sit back and be ready for it.
Yeah. It seems like they're going to go with a bit more of a conservative play approach to defense this time, with it bringing the linebackers back and letting them guard the middle of the field more to try and help out for those corners and the safeties.
Right.
Because they struggled pretty hard last year.
And Mountain Vista kicks off here. And that'll be a touchback.
Well, here comes out Pooter's offense, which absolutely destroyed Douglas County's defense last week. We'll have to see. Can they carry on that momentum, really? That's the question.
What did Pooter score on Douglas County?
I believe it was around 40 or so points.
Really?
Yeah, it was. And they played really good defense, too. I believe Douglas County only scored one touchdown.
Really? Now, just like in general, Douglas County isn't always the top performer in football. However, it's impressive anytime a team can come out and score 40 points on anyone else. And the snap. And they'll hand it off to JT Erickson, who almost breaks away, but is stopped by, I believe, Griffin Barnard, number 42. Yeah. So that's interesting. That's that JT Erickson that we've come to expect out of these games. And he breaks away right away and is almost gone had it not been for that linebacker core, which we were talking about.
Yeah. He's definitely a very squirmy, untackleable kind of running back, and it's definitely hard to stop him sometimes.
Right, and now we might get to see what Troy McFadden can do. And he'll take it.
Option.
He'll hold on to it for the option. Not the same results. He'll get about 3 yards out of the play, though.
Yeah, so Pooter here, they like to run more of a pistol-type offense, so we're going to have to see how that works. Yeah, that was Max Rupert there on the linebacker coverage tackle.
Another linebacker.
Yeah, another key part of this defense.
It looks like there's something holding up the play. Absolutely. So we are going to talk a lot about the linebackers tonight. At least I hope so. The linebackers tonight, Matt Hoopmaker, Griffin Barnard, Max Rupert, they're kind of put into a new position as Mountain Vista is transitioning into this new defense. What do you expect to see out of them, Brandon?
Well, I think definitely during the summer and the off season of the winter and spring, I think that definitely Coach Cash would probably has probably given them the most attention, giving his new position as a defensive coordinator. And I think we'll have to see how they react, considering they're basically the linchpin between the 3 defensive linemen and the corners and safeties, and we're going to have to see how they react to this.
Absolutely, and we had a lot of coaching shifts on defense this year. It wasn't just the defensive coordinator. It was also the linebacker coach and the, I think, DB's coach. So pretty much everyone was switched out. And as we approach on this next offensive snap from Pooter, there's about 9 minutes and 36 seconds left in the game. And JT Erickson will take it and almost hurdles the player. But it looks like he was stopped by one of our defensive ends, Christian King, number 90.
Yeah, that was definitely a good play there. He got around on that edge, and JT Erickson trying to bust it around the edge, but he just can't get around him.
Right, and it came down to the low man there. Christian King was just lower vertically than JT Erickson was, and so he was able to wrap up kind of around his feet, hold him up. Pooter snaps, and they'll pass it. And it's stopped on the outside. Pooter will get the first down, but they're still stopped before the 50.
Yeah, well, definitely Pooter's offense is chugging along here.
Absolutely. I don't think it's going to be big explosive plays out of Pooter like we just saw out of Mountain Vista. I think there's just going to be kind of more of a plug-and-chug kind of offense where they'll have to grind it out on the gridiron.
Yeah, I think their strategy is definitely going to be to try and grind down that Mountain Vista defense, just wear them out, and then they can use JT Erickson to his fullest effect and just get him around the edges. Get him moving.
Right, and kind of an interesting play here. Little screen pass, almost. And they'll get another about 13 yards out of that one. That was Josiah Stribling on the Pooter side of the ball.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely an interesting play because you might not have seen it, but JT Erickson there in the backfield made a crucial block to stop Troy McFadden from getting sacked. So he's definitely also being utilized as a pass blocker in this scheme.
Absolutely. Mountain Vista with a little shift on the D-front line. And they almost, they get him for the sack behind. Pooter will lose approximately 4 yards on that play, and they'll be brought to 2nd and 14.
Yeah, I don't really think anyone on the Pooter side is to blame there. That was just a great rush by the Mountain Vista defense. They got to him. He couldn't get away.
Right, and if you notice, right before the snap there, Mountain Vista shifted their D-front. And so you could kind of tell they could read the offense a little bit, which is funny because usually it's the offense reacting to the defense. And they have a man in motion on Pooter, and he'll be given the ball, and he'll try to stretch to the outside. He'll get a good block, and he'll gain about 5 or 6 yards off of the play.
That was a good jet sweep there by Zach Leal. Definitely, we'll have to see if that comes into play more often because they've definitely got some faster receivers on their side of the ball as well, and we're going to have to see if they incorporate that into their running game or what they're going to do with that exactly.
Absolutely, and kind of like you've been saying, this is a third down situation, so they're going to go with their strongest suit, whether it's passing or running, so that will kind of show us something here. And Troy McFadden will take it, and he'll pass it. Little high, but there was a flag before he was able to get the ball off.
I believe that's a false start call right there.
So that would bring Pooter back 5 yards. Again, be a third down. And then they'll really have to pass the ball.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely interesting to see because usually in these kinds of pistol formations, they usually have a second running back in the backfield, which we would expect to be Tate Satterfield, number 36, the backup running back for Pooter. But in this case, they're running Dylan McVicker, number 24, the wide receiver, as the other back man in the pistol formation, right up next to Troy McFadden over there. So we'll have to see if they're going to go more pass-centric here, seeing as they're bringing out an extra wide receiver there.
Right, and so that probably means they're running an H-back. And on that, Pooter did get a few yards of it, but that will be 4th down, and so they will either have to punt or risk it on 4th down.
Yes. Zach Leal definitely gave it a good try there on that screen, but I guess that throw was just too late from Troy McFadden.
Right. And so it appears that Pooter will be punting, but in the past, Mountain Vista has been tricked by fake punts. And so it's always interesting to keep the punting team or the receiving team on their toes. I know they emphasize that, or that's a large point of emphasis for the punt team on the Mountain Vista side.
Yeah, that did happen a few times last year, although usually it was against bigger teams than Pooter, such as Pomona.
Right.
And other big teams like Regis, Valor.
Right.
But it's definitely still a possibility here, especially, and it might even be more of a threat from an underdog team, you would say, because they might feel the desperate need to kind of do those sorts of risky plays.
Right. But what I love about high school football is that you can't discount the punt. In college and especially NFL, you can kind of give up on it. However, as Vlad Clark punts it away here, we'll have to see. Is he going to punt it? Where's he going to punt it to? Are we going to have to shift on the Mountain Vista side of things? And this will kind of create an interesting option for the teams. And it'll be a high snap.
There.
And Mountain Vista will get it early because of that snap, but Tristan Smith will elect to fair catch it to not try and tempt his opponent there. And now Mountain Vista will come out again. Obviously, we saw that breakaway run from Tristan Smith. We haven't seen a whole lot from Aaron Albertson again. He's more of a vertical guy.
Yeah, I would definitely say that he is more of the vertical threat on this offense. I mean, Tristan Smith can obviously do a good job in the vertical, but I would say Aaron Albertson out wide, away from the safeties, he's probably their best bet for a vertical attack.
Absolutely. So, Campbell Lancaster again, behind center. And that'll be a run to right side, a pitch, and he'll break away, and it might give him 10 yards, but I bet it'll be the second. And we're now down to 7 minutes in the first quarter. Mountain Vista's up 7-0.
Well, Whiteside just came off there after that play, so we're going to have to see. They do still have a running back in the backfield there, but we're going to have to see if this means maybe a shift to a more high-tempo offense here.
Absolutely.
Pooter looking to blitz.
And Mountain Vista throws it again. A bubble route there. However, slipped right through the hands of the receiver. And so nothing came up out of that.
Yeah,
however, we are noticing Campbell's only thrown it to the right or the left side. And so it's never gone in the middle. Whether that means they're only running routes on the outside to try and create distance, or maybe they have a really good safety on the Pooter side of things. They're only going on the outsides.
Yeah, we're going to have to see if that's going to change over the course of this game.
Another shotgun snap for Campbell Lancaster here. Little low, and he'll elect to pitch it out to Tristan Smith again, and he'll be brought down. Looks like either right at the line of scrimmage or a couple yards before.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see how many screenplays they're running right now. We've already seen 3 from Mountain Vista, 1 from Pooter, and we'll have to see if that's going to continue to be a consistent feature of this offensive game plan here.
Absolutely. That bubble screen was utilized a lot last year, but not this much. The offensive line doing some adjustments there as it looks like Pooter's about to blitz, and they do. But they get it to Tristan Smith, who's only able to take it till halfway to what they needed to be.
Yeah, that's going to force a punt from Mountain Vista.
Little back and forth here. As we saw, though, from the previous drive on the Pooter side of the ball, Mountain Vista's defense has greatly improved. It may be a little too early to say that, but what are your feelings?
Well, they definitely started off well here. We're going to have to see if they can keep up that momentum, especially as the game goes on and they start to get more tired up at the front. But It's definitely a good start, encouraging. We'll have to see where it takes us.
Absolutely. And that punt will go a little wonky and will be brought down at the 49-yard line. That was a 25-yard punt. Not typically what's expected out of a punter. However, this is the opening game, so we'll have to see. 5 minutes and 53 seconds now remain in the first quarter. And now Pooter will take the snap, and they'll hand it off to JT. And JT will have somewhat of a breakaway and is brought down approximately 30 yards from where he started. That's not bad at it, JT. You were saying.
Yeah,
take a look at this guy.
That's exactly what I was saying. You got to pay attention to this guy because as soon as he gets some room and he has room to move around, juke, spin, whatever, he is gone.
Absolutely. And it looked like he broke how many tackles there? Like 3?
At
4?
least 2.
Yeah.
I would say.
And they'll give it back to him again. And he just absolutely broke that guy's ankles.
Yeah, that's a touchdown for Pooter there.
And Pooter will answer back with that touchdown, like you're saying. Not bad at it, JT Erickson. And so kind of what we saw there was the left side of the defense collapsed.
Yeah, we're going to have to see if that's going to keep being a good trend there. But, I mean, as I said, as soon as JT Erickson sees a hole, he's gone through it already. Like, by the time someone else can even react, he's already gone.
Right.
And even when they do catch him, they can't tackle him half the time. It takes multiple people usually.
He's a slipper guy. He must have good lateral movement with his feet.
He definitely did. If you saw that play there, that juke move to the right when he was coming out from just behind the offensive line there to get into that right side hole, that was absolutely flawless juke move.
Oh, my gosh. It was pretty, I'm not going to lie. Good job to JT Erickson over there.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Mountain Vista taking on Pooter.
And welcome back as Mountain Vista lines up to receive the kick from the Pooter Impalas who just recently scored. It's now tied 7-7 with 5 minutes and 24 seconds left in the first quarter. We have a couple back to receive as Mountain Vista likes to run. Tristan Smith and I believe one more, potentially Cameron Williams.
Yeah, well, Mountain Vista didn't do too great last time out on offense, so we're going to have to see how they respond with this time. Maybe they'll go more run heavy. Maybe they'll take out some of those screens that they've been running.
Right, and they'll just kind of charge into the depths there as Aaron Albertson will take that carry to the 25.
Yeah, and he's definitely a player you have to watch out for, Aaron Albertson. He could be a very, very impactful player in this game, depending on how much he contributes to the team.
Absolutely. He's probably the second fastest guy on this team behind Tristan Smith. And Tristan and the other Golden Eagles will line up in the spread offense now. And Aaron Albertson will go in motion at H. And waiting on the snap as it looks like Pooter's about to blitz, and they do. And Whiteside will have to try to outrun his opponent. And they'll bring him down a yard before the line of scrimmage.
I think it's interesting to see how they've utilized Colton Whiteside so far. As we know, he's definitely more of a bruising type back. He'll run into people. He'll run people over.
Right.
And so far, what we've been seeing is that they've been using him mostly in like sweep pitches type plays to try and get him around the outside, which I don't exactly know if that's really his strong suit or if they're just trying to avoid the Pooter blitzes that are coming in right now.
I agree. Right now they have four men in the D-line and then a fifth one right there at linebacker blitzing. And they'll get it to Aaron Albertson, Johnny Evans, I believe. Number 80. Yep, Johnny Evans. And that'll be a nice over-the-shoulder throw to gain them a few yards. Johnny Evans, great job there with his hands as he was able to just perfectly grab that right out of the reach of the Pooter cornerback there.
Yeah, he's definitely the possession receiver of this team, the safe hands.
Absolutely. Now they'll snap it again. And Aaron Albertson will go in motion again.
Oh.
And they'll fumble that snap, and Lancaster will just fall on it to keep it safe.
I mean, that is the quintessential play of a good quarterback right there.
Right.
You have a bad snap thrown to you, what do? You just fall on top of it. Make sure that no matter what, it does not go to Pooter.
Absolutely. Nobody needs to be a hero when you fumble a snap.
Yes. Well, long ways to go here now. 2nd and 24 with about 4 minutes left in this first quarter here.
And they'll snap it again. Campbell Lancaster looking to regain those 14 yards. And he'll get it to Tristan Smith. They'll get a few yards, but there are some flags on the play.
Yeah, and I bet that one will be coming back on a holding call here.
Probably. I anticipate it'll be on that H-back, as we were seeing. And as the refs try to figure things out, like you were saying earlier, Brandon, they haven't really been utilizing Colton Whiteside like they had been in previous years. Usually he's a run right up the middle kind of guy. They don't really give it to him on outside handoffs or pitches because he's not the fastest guy, but he's a really good trucker and he's got good agility, but not great speed.
Yeah, like when he came in as a backup for Michael Rizzo last year, he was a great compliment to Rizzo because Rizzo was also kind of one of those more bruising type, punch right up the gut kind of halfbacks. So it's definitely interesting to see how they're utilizing Colton Whiteside in a different way than they did the running backs from last year.
Absolutely, and now they've kind of brought Noah Hicks out on the field, so I'll be interested to see. Maybe the starter is the guy who goes on those big sweeping runs, and the backup is the one who's the bruiser. So let's see what Hicks can do as he's brought out alongside Campbell.
Yeah, I think it might just be a case of them trying to rotate running backs to make sure the Whiteside keeps his energy up, but it could also be a potential fight for the starting position at running back. We don't know yet.
Right.
Well, I guess we'll just have to see how Hicks performs.
Right, and Pooter's bringing their 3 defensive linemen and 2 outside backers blitzing. And Campbell will get it off in time to Johnny Evans, but overthrows it just slightly.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're going to have to expect that sometimes from a first-time starter here. I mean, you could definitely feel the pressure coming in from that Pooter 5-man rush. And
right.
I mean, sometimes it just gets to the better of you and you just throw errant pass.
Oh, and it's now second down as Mountain Vista lines up. Oh, third down. Excuse me. And Mountain Vista will take the snap. Obviously, they're down 15 yards, but can they come back? Low snap. And Campbell finds a great way out of the pocket, and he gets it off to Tristan Smith.
I think that might be just short of a first down there.
Just one or 2 yards shy, and so I'll be interested since they've got good field position and their defense has been doing well, and it's just so close of a margin. They're staying out, just like I figured. And Lancaster will take it. They'll pitch it out to Noah Hicks, and Hicks will get stopped. Well, not a bad call from the Mountain Vista offense. They kind of need to see that out of their team, and they were in good enough field position to make it worth it.
Yeah, definitely, but I'm not a big fan of these running plays so far. I don't know if this offensive line can really handle trying to block pitch sweeps when there's outside linebackers coming around the edges trying to close them off.
I agree. It's kind of difficult when, like you're saying, when you have literally 4 guys coming off the edge with their whole goal being to plug up that run on the outside. And so what I liked was when Campbell came out of the pocket, he was confident, he stepped up, he was a real man in that moment, and he threw it to Tristan Smith and almost got the first out of it. And we'll go a pinch with Mountain Vista, and it looks like Christian King went too far there, bit the bait a little bit. However, they'll stop him before the 50-yard line.
Yeah, that last drive, of course, JT Erickson with 2 great back-to-back runs pretty much instantly put them in for a touchdown. So we're going to have to see if they can stop him this time. That was a good start, but we'll have to see if they can keep that up.
Absolutely, and they'll snap it and give it back to JT Erickson, and he'll get stopped right about where he started. So that looks like it was more of a D-line play than linebackers. However, we are seeing some really good stuff from those people up front. But we haven't really seen a whole lot out of the corners. What are you expecting then?
Well, I mean, I would say that we do give a little bit too much credit to the linebackers. Of course, the corners and the D linemen have to do their jobs as well, and the safeties. And I think that looking to the corners, I think that all we really have to look at them to do is just lock down the short passes and lock down the middle, and we can have a good chance.
Right. Yeah, I think that was a zone play as far as Mountain Vista's defense goes, and so they read that well. Kind of got us in that short to mid range like you were talking about. And so as long as our corners can do that well, then it should provide good results for Mountain Vista.
Yeah, although that Josiah's dribbling there was pretty open, so we're going to have to see how they deal with us.
Right. And they'll have a tight end in motion on the Pooter side of things. And they'll give it to JT Erickson, and he's only able to scrounge out a couple yards out of that. I thought that was interesting that they had that tight end go on that almost a bubble route to kind of confuse him. But at the same time, it could be just like a guard or a tackle pulling.
Yeah, I think it's definitely more of the latter, considering how much emphasis they put into their run game. I wouldn't necessarily look at their tight end. If I was on the Mountain Vista defense right now, I wouldn't exactly be looking at their tight ends to produce any big catches, although it's definitely a possibility for like a surprise play. But right now, with the way that this offense is running, I wouldn't look for it yet.
Right, and with 2 minutes left in this first quarter, we're not seeing a whole lot passing-wise out of Pooter, just like we're not seeing a whole lot running-wise out of Mountain Vista.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see so far.
And it looks like we have a player injured. Appears to be Mountain Vista, kneeling down around the 40 or the 38-yard line.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
And some upsetting news for Mountain Vista there as Joey Chrissa walks off the field in his own power. So that doesn't mean the end of the world. However, that could mean that Joey Chrissa is done for the night.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely one of the worst positions to take a blow at right now, considering he is one of their best cornerbacks.
Absolutely, if not one of their best defensive players.
Indeed.
He's one of their biggest hitters, that's for sure. I can promise that. So now Mountain Vista will line up. And the option play, as Troy McFadden holds on to it, he'll get to about the 30-yard line, so it'll be set or 3rd and 2. It seems like Pooter's pretty comfortable with that option play.
Yeah, I think they're pretty comfortable with just the running game in general right now. I mean, they've got that bruising pounder in JT Erickson who can wear out that defense. And then they've got Troy McFadden and Tate Satterfield, more, versatile running backs who can do whatever you need them to do.
Absolutely. And Mountain Vista really bringing the pressure on the defensive side of the ball as they all crouch up to try and stop JT Erickson. And he almost breaks away there. But he'll get to about the 25-yard line and get them the first down in the red zone.
Yeah, I think that is a really all-encompassing play for the Pooter offense. As you see, Tate Satterfield there, number 36, he went out to the left to block like they were going to try and run around the edge, but JT Erickson sees something on the right side, so he jukes back, and he takes that hole, and he pounds it. That's basically the entire Pooter offense in a nutshell right there.
Yeah, they're great with the cutbacks, like you're saying. And JT must be a really good reader of the defensive front because now they have 4 crouching up, and they will be able to stop JT. He'll get to the 15-yard line. And so now Mountain Vista's defense kind of starting to maybe show some of their true colors, maybe show a moment of weakness. We don't quite know yet. What do you think?
Well, it's definitely interesting. I mean, to be fair, you have to give credit to JT Erickson. I mean, there wasn't too much running space there. I think Mountain Vista did a good job closing up the holes there, but he still just dragged 2 people and got an extra 3 yards out of it. So, I mean, what can you do, really? Right,
and as we come to the end of the first quarter here with 11.8 seconds left, we'll take a time, or we're going to walk to the end of the first quarter, and we'll be back with you soon. All right, welcome back to the second quarter of the Mountain Vista home opener versus Pooter. Pooter has the ball on the 20-yard line, and they will take it to about the 10 as Mountain Vista stuffs them up and gets a little bit of the moral victory there as they push them back.
I don't know. I'd say they were lucky there. JT Erickson had a huge hole on that right side. They can't let them have big holes like that because JT Erickson's got such mobility and such a good vision that he can basically take any hole and blow it right open.
Absolutely. So I think that kind of comes down to the D-line there because their major job is to plug up the holes. And they'll pull Matt Hoopmaker from the running back core there. And it looks like they might be putting in a heavy set as they get into a goal line situation. Yeah, they have a safety back, but everyone else is within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. And Mountain Vista will take a timeout, obviously trying to discuss some of their strategy as they feel like they're getting, maybe not playing the best here as they get pushed down the field. However, that doesn't mean it's the end of it. And as we come out of the timeout, Mountain Vista will walk over, get in their respective positions, and it looks like they're running 4 men on D-line as a heavy set now. Obviously, that's kind of like a goal line situation for when, there's more of a run threat. And so what do you think about this?
It'll be interesting to see if this is only for like a more goal zone type defense or if this is a permanent change, at least for the rest of the game.
Right.
Because I think now they're really starting to focus in on
they have a man in motion.
Oh.
And he'll try to take it outside, but he's chased down by a pack of eagles, or a flock of eagles. Excuse me.
I mean, another good jet sweep there by Zach Leal. I mean, when you've got that kind of lateral running threat in your wide receiving core, you're going to want to take advantage of it.
Right, and the hard part with those big sweeping runs, too, is that, yes, while you're getting a lot of speed and a lot of momentum, it's hard to transfer that to try to turn upfield instead of just continuing straight over the sideline.
Yeah, and I think he definitely did have some success with turning up, but there was just too many people there.
Absolutely. And they have 2 men in motion on the Pooter. And JT Erickson will take it and kind of walks into the Mountain Vista end zone there. Yeah, it didn't look like there was a whole lot of stopping him from any of the positions out there, from the defensive line, linebackers, DBs.
And I mean, you've got to give credit to the Pooter offensive line, and especially to one of the unsung heroes of this offense, Tate Satterfield, because as you can see, he's making critical blocks on free linebackers that are trying to come in, get JT Erickson.
Ooh, they missed the field goal. Oh, just kidding. That field goal was almost blocked. It sailed really low because the kicker saw that he was coming in to block it. I thought it went out, but apparently it just sailed right over the crossbar there.
That's definitely interesting. Maybe we might get a blocked PAT around here.
It could be. That usually happens a few times in a Mountain Vista season, and it's a good way to kind of strike back and get a safety out of the team right after they score.
And it's definitely a morale lifter as well.
Absolutely. Speaking of morale, the Mountain Vista crowd is really doing a lot right now to try and cheer it up, especially as the marching band kind of rallies. I'll be interested to see what happens on this run. We've already seen them take it away once. Nothing to say that they can't do it again. It's uncommon, but given how Mountain Vista runs their returns, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it.
It's definitely an interesting threat.
Absolutely. It's something that's not really addressed by most teams. Most high school football teams, their special teams are kind of the backup guys who they really don't care about if they get injured. And they don't really put a whole lot of emphasis in the special teams.
Yeah, and I mean, I can see why that's the case because, I mean, if you do put some of your best defensive safeties or wide receivers or running backs out there to try and return, I mean, A, it takes a lot of training to get people to be able to really take good kickoff returns, and B, there's always a really high threat of injury. So, I mean, I see why they do it, but sometimes it can work out really well where they do put an emphasis on the special teams.
Absolutely, and that's just as Mountain Vista does, especially like we're seeing right now as Aaron Albertson and Tristan Smith are ready to receive. Pooter kicks it away. He'll get it somewhat deep to the 10-yard line, and Aaron Albertson will receive it. He'll take it right up the middle, and he almost breaks away, but not a bad run out of Albertson. He'll get to the 36-yard line.
Yeah, that's definitely a good jump start for this offense. We're going to have to see what they can do with that, though.
Right. In years past, we've seen it where Mountain Vista's really come out on that kick return. For example, the Wish Week game a couple of years ago, or I think it was the Thunder Ridge or the Wish Week game, Kellen Parker returned it end zone to end zone to get an edge up on either Rock Canyon or Thunder Ridge, and now Mountain Vista will take the snap. And they'll feed it to Colton Whiteside right up the middle, as he's comfortable with, and he'll get a few yards out of it. He'll get 3 yards, which is about what he was producing on the side, right?
Well, it's difficult to say because we don't know if that's going to be typical of him running up the middle. But, I mean, that was definitely, I would say, more of a positive play than him trying to run out to the sides because, as we saw, he was just getting swarmed by linebackers and whatnot. But up the middle there, he had some good blocking. He was able to get some good yardage there.
Absolutely. And so now Mountain Vista will snap it in the second snap of this drive. And Campbell will hold on to it, and he'll get that pass blocked right up front. Thankfully, no one returned that for a pick, and it wasn't a fumble because his arm was moving forward.
Yeah, I would say that's not his fault at all. That's just unlucky. He had a wide open receivers there on the left sideline, and he just got blocked.
Right.
Then what can you do?
Not much. That kind of comes down to the offensive line. We don't really talk about those guys unless they screw up, but they are doing an amazing job.
Oh.
Probably encroachment on the defense, as it looked like number 59 on the Pooter side of the ball, Harlan Archuleta, enticed the tackle there to move. But it'll be interesting to see what they call.
Yeah. Yep, and it is encroachment on the defense there, so they're going to get 5 yards.
Yep, and now it's 3rd and 3 for Mountain Vista, putting them in a better situation than 3rd and 8. And they have very much spread offense here with one back. They'll snap. Muff snap. And Campbell will get rid of it as to avoid the sack. However, it didn't come up in his favor.
I mean, that is a good recovery there by Campbell Lancaster. I mean, he picks it up off the ground and he manages to at least get out of the pocket, give him another second or so of time to look, get a read, and throw.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, you have to question the center there. That's the 3rd weak snap we've seen so far. And, I mean, you've got to start questioning them at some point.
And Mountain Vista goes for it on 4th down. And they'll run it with Whiteside, and, they'll try to push it.
I think he's got that one.
Let's wait and see. It looks close. They'll give it to him. Mountain Vista gets another opportunity on 1st down. That's amazing.
Like I said, Colton Whiteside running up the middle, he's a lot more of a force to be reckoned with than when he's running laterally around the outside.
Absolutely, and kind of an interesting move there from Mountain Vista. As they weren't in the best field position, as Colton Whiteside breaks away. And Whiteside will get another, 14 yards out of that one, right?
Definitely.
Wow. Yes. Look at that. Like earlier, like you were saying, they had Whiteside all running out the outside. Maybe like something happened with the offensive line, but they got him going up the middle.
Looks like they've taken out Colton Whiteside now for Jason Copernicus as a wide receiver.
Oh. Jason Kapernakis is a very good wide receiver. He's got some great hands, and he's very similar to Aaron Albertson. And they'll switch him out for Cameron Williams. And he'll line up at wideout.
Yeah, it looks like Noah Hicks now is going to take some snaps as the halfback.
And Hicks will almost get the 1st down. Not bad out of the junior. And just under 9 minutes now as the Eagles are under 7 points. So it's Mountain Vista 7, the Pooter and Paula's 14.
This fast tempo offense of running it up the middle is really not doing Pooter any favors right now, I would say.
Right, and it looks like Pooter called a timeout there.
I think you have to at this point. I mean, they were getting run down over there, and they need to call a timeout, take a breath, get their defense back together because they were getting torn apart by those runs.
Absolutely. They just got 40 yards on them just on the run game. It's kind of uncommon for the ground game to produce 40 yards. Usually we see it happening in the air because those are those long bombs. However, we haven't even really seen any of those out of Mountain Vista either.
Yeah, we've had about 2 so far from Campbell Lancaster. 1 caught, 1 missed. But I mean, I think when you do have a rookie sophomore quarterback coming on for his very first game in the varsity team, I think that you do have to kind of look at it as a learning experience more than an actual game. And I think that using the run game more efficiently and more effectively would definitely help him settle into that role more.
Absolutely. Get a game under his belt, get the confidence build up.
Exactly.
But he doesn't look like he's lacking in confidence, particularly. He looks pretty good for a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I'm impressed so far.
Yeah, and another muff snap. And Campbell will scoop it up, get it back to the line of scrimmage, and that'll put us at 4th down. I am positive the offensive line coach is not going to be happy with that, as this is Ben Hildebrand's, or let's see, Ben Hildebrand is at center, isn't he?
I believe he is, yes.
Yeah, so that would be Ben Hildebrand's like 4th or 5th muff snap. That's not really what you want to see out of your starting guy. He'll get one more chance on 4th down. He'll get it right to him, and they'll pitch it out to Noah Hicks, and Hicks will get it across, and they'll get a 1st down. And that will put them almost in red zone territory. This, if they come up empty here and they have to kick it, that'll be a true test of their kicker. However, Mountain Vista has some forward momentum. They almost got stopped up there. But I think we can expect a touchdown out of this. What do you think?
I think it's definitely possible. We'll have to see what happens here.
And they'll do another, excuse me, not screen pass, bubble route to Tristan Smith, and he'll get 2 yards out of the play. Like we were talking about earlier, they're really running that.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just to build up Campbell Lancaster's confidence and his throwing ability to get to his wide receivers easily, because, you know, it is his first game like running the varsity team, and he's got to have at least some easy routes, because if you try and run a regular offense with a new quarterback, he can absolutely tear apart his confidence, make him fall apart.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry, that's my cat.
And Campbell will go with that long bomb, and they'll score in the end zone. Let's see, who was that to? Looks like Johnny Evans for that pickup. That's a that's like a 25, 30-yard play right there.
Yeah, that was definitely a good play by Campbell Lancaster and Johnny Evans. I mean, the throw was a little bit low from Lancaster, but it's on target, and Johnny Evans can just turn around where the corner can't.
Right.
And comes up just above his helmet, gets the pass, and falls into the touchdown. That was a good play.
Great awareness from Johnny Evans. Not so great from the corner.
Yeah, I mean, you do kind of have to question that coverage, but I mean, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Johnny Evans was already past him, and he was just trying to follow him just to make sure that he wasn't open in the corner.
Right, and Thomas Hall will kick that one in good. They're kind of rushing off the ends there for a kick.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually one of the better ways to try and block a kick. I mean, you can always try and get it from the middle, but I mean, trying to plow through a line that's specifically designed to stop people from getting through it at all costs, I mean, it's a tough proposition.
The only way that really works right down the middle is if you hop over the center, and I don't think that's happened in high school football like in Colorado ever.
I mean, you might see some history here, maybe.
We
never
could.
know.
Absolutely. And so now it's tied up 14-14. 7 minutes and 10 seconds left in the second quarter.
And we'll be right back.
And here we go as Mountain Vista will kick it off right after that 30-yard touchdown there.
And I think that's definitely a major confidence booster, not only for Campbell Lancaster, but for the entire Mountain Vista team right now.
Absolutely, and as they kick it away, it looks like maybe one of their option guys received it. And he'll get to the 35, a pretty good return for Pooter. Mountain Vista's kickoff team maybe struggled a little bit there, whether they weren't fast enough or in the right spots.
I don't know. I would say kind of more of the kicker there. That was kind of a short kick of only about to the 25. I wouldn't say that I would really fault the blocker or the tackling team there.
Right, I didn't even consider that. And now the defense will show their teeth again. Are we back in that 3-3 front or that heavy front?
Looks like we're back in that 3-3 front.
All right. Pooter, instead of the spread offense, running, looks like 2 tight ends and 2 backs. Oh, and Lee almost had him there. But Pooter will get it out before getting their quarterback sacked, and they'll gain about 20 yards off of that play.
And that is not Troy McFadden over there. That is a new quarterback. I believe that is...
Nate Wood?
No. I believe that is probably Sergio Tarango, their backup quarterback.
Really? Kind of interesting. Do you
Or
think
possibly.
he wasn't producing then, or are they just giving Troy a little break?
Well, possibly. No, that is Troy McFadden, actually. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there's a flag there. I think that might be a face mask on Mountain Vista there.
Could be. Usually whenever a team defense breaks through the line that fast, it's easy to kind of spot a penalty.
Oh, no, that is on Pooter. I guess that was a holding call there.
Really?
Yeah.
So that'll move Pooter 5 yards back, giving them from what was great momentum to now some stoppage here.
Yeah, I mean, McFadden's been doing pretty well so far. We're going to have to see how he reacts to this, though, at first and 20 here.
Yeah. Big distance to go.
First and 23, actually.
And so I would expect that they're going to pass, but given the way that JT Erickson's been running and the way that the offensive line has been blocking, wouldn't be surprised if it was a run.
I mean, it's definitely possible, although I would say that first pass of the drive might embolden them to pass it a bit more here.
Right. And so Troy will take it, and he'll bomb it. A little bit of an overthrow there.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know if that was some pressure from the Mountain Vista defense just got into his head, or if that was just, a rare bad throw, but that was definitely some good coverage there from Mountain Vista. That corner was ahead of him the whole way.
Right, and that could have been part of it too. Since the corner had him beat, he could have been thinking, well, if I throw it to him, there's a high likelihood that it'll get picked off, so I'm just going to overthrow it.
That's definitely possible, yeah.
Right.
Unorthodox way of intentional grounding.
Yeah. And second here, Troy will throw it again. And they'll get 1 yard out of that play.
I mean, that was really impressive there by that Mountain Vista defense. They saw the screen coming, and they just had 2 people go straight through those blockers that they had on the O-line and just sit right there waiting for JT Erickson to catch that ball so they could take him down.
Right. Good job by the linebacker core there. And now it's 5 minutes and 40 seconds left in this second quarter. Still tied up 14-14 Eagles and Impalas. And looks like a bit of a pinched front from the defensive D-line there. And they'll try and expand out last second, and they'll crowd the quarterback. And now, Max Rupert overshot. However, they will bring him down with, looks like Matt Hoopmaker responsible for, I don't know if you can call that a sack.
No, I think that was about a gain of, I think he just got back to the line of scrimmage there, but that is definitely a very valuable play for Mountain Vista here.
Absolutely.
It's 4th and 17, and the punting team is coming on here.
Yep.
Vlad Clark coming on to punt.
And now they'll punt it away. And Tristan Smith will bobble it, receive it, and be called down at the 31.
Gotta say, that was a pretty good punt technique there by Vlad Clark. He got that one up high, spiraling, and then it came back down, and Tristan Smith had to struggle to get to that one.
Right, he had to kind of lean out forward a little bit. Not really what you want to see on a punt return.
It's always dangerous when you lean out for those. It's a good chance of a fumble.
Right, because if it touches the ball, if anyone on the Mountain Vista side was to touch the ball there, it's instantly a live ball. Either side can get it. And so now Mountain Vista will line up, short one guy, and he'll sprint out onto the field. Noah Hicks. And they'll snap it. And Campbell will go on the move and give it to Tristan. And Tristan will be kind of pulled back a little bit, but still get about 16 yards out of the play.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say there was anything dirty about that play. That was just a bit of a botch tackle, but he was already down, so I mean, But that was definitely a really good play by Campbell Lancaster there, rolling out, finding the open man.
Absolutely. That's a big man play. And now they'll snap it back to him as we have 4 receivers and 1 back. And he'll get some pressure, so Campbell will hold on to it and just try to make the most out of it. He'll get 2 to 3 yards out of that.
I mean, that was definitely some good play there by Lancaster. He sensed that pressure, and he got out of the pocket in time.
Absolutely. That almost looks like it came off of the left tackle there, though. Maybe they didn't spot some of that pressure, or maybe it didn't look like that pressure was coming.
Noah Hicks there, taken down in the backfield.
Stop it up at the line, and that, after that second play there, might imply some tired feelings from the offensive line. With 3:45 left in the half, I bet we'll see the offensive line coach just try to coach him up, just get to the half.
Yeah, definitely. Especially for that center, Ben Hildebrand. He's already had some botched snaps. I would say for him, just focus on his snaps and just make sure that he can get to the half without causing any fumbles or anything.
Absolutely. And now it looks like they might be teasing pressure from that outside linebacker, which they are. They'll bring it, and they'll get it for the first time up the middle. Unfortunately, Johnny Evans couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, a bit of a low throw there, but that was still a good play by Campbell Lancaster. He gets out of the pocket a little bit just to get some more sight vision, get away from the pressure. He makes a pretty good throw. He's a little bit low, but I mean, sometimes you just have those kinds of moments.
Right, and for the first time in a while on 4th down, they'll bring the punt team out. And Mountain Vista will try and get it back as far as possible. Looks like Tristan Smith.
Pooter here with 2 punt returners in the back.
And another muffed long snap. And fair catch. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, too. As always, we will have other broadcasts running up in our near future. You can always catch them here at the VistaNow page on our YouTube page. We will have field hockey, volleyball, football, all the fall sports running. We also will have soccer in a few weeks, or coming up soon, on September 7th. That'll be a week from tonight. And now Mountain Vista will line up on defense. And making some quick adjustments to try and confuse the offense. And Troy will hold on to it and pitch it out to number 6, who will have a bit of a breakaway but had some Eagles following him. They'll get it to the 41-yard line.
Good play by Zach Leal there.
Absolutely. Zach Leal took that right away. It looked like that was almost an option or audible right at the end there. Looked like that wasn't really planned. So good job to the Impalas for getting 20 yards out of a mistake.
I'd say definitely an interesting play there because they had a tight end on the line blocking, and it looks like they've got it again here.
Right, and at safety, we have Matt Smith. He's the running back, and it looks like they pulled, or excuse me, not Matt Smith, Jared Cooper. They must have pulled Caden Wetzel, or no, he's still out on the field. No, excuse me, Bryce Williams, number 2. Wetzel was number 2 last year, but Wetzel's suffering from some abdominal issues as he pulled or strained that muscle recently. Kind of contributing to why Campbell is the starting quarterback.
Yeah, that might have been a factor in it, but I think it may. I would say that it's probably been more of a case of Caden Wetzel maybe just not performing to the standards of Coach Cash.
Right, and he's only been at the position since Tuesday. So, and Troy McFadden will take that on the option, kind of confusing some of the Mountain Vista defense, and they'll try and catch up, and he'll run it out at the, looks like 18, 17-yard line. 2 minutes and 14 seconds left in this first half. Maybe Troy had a little bit of a flashback of last year when he had his ACL torn and decided, I'm not going to mess with that. I think I'll run out onto the sideline.
I would say that's definitely maybe a flashback to last year. I think that's a smart play there because you definitely don't want him to tear his ACL twice in against the same team 2 years in a row.
Absolutely. And now he'll line up in the shotgun formation as they have a tight end on the left. He'll block, and they'll get it to a wide out, and he'll be stopped up as 3 Eagles come and tackle him.
That's Zach Leal again. They're really utilizing Zach Leal.
He seems fast, but he does not seem that big. And so kind of a good matchup for our corners there with Zach Leal. Our corners aren't necessarily the biggest guys, and so I think they're kind of counting on him to outrun them. However, it looks like he's having trouble getting that separation that he needs.
It's interesting. We haven't seen too much from Stribling and Rozka yet. We've seen a lot from Zach Leal, but not much from the other two so far.
Right.
Fake jet sweep there.
He'll take it. Not much comes up out of it, though. They'll stay at the 15, and it'll now be 3rd down.
As I was saying, utilizing Zach Leal for a fake jet sweep there. I mean, they're definitely trying to get as much value out of him as they can to try and further their running game.
Right, and real fast, just some improvement from last year. Mountain Vista would have absolutely bit the fake in previous years. So we've seen some obvious improvement from Coach Cash in that area.
Yeah, I think definitely, I would say the defense has most definitely been the focus for this offseason.
Absolutely, and Pooter snaps it. They'll hurry it as we get down to under a minute, and it looks like false start. Could have been the time either.
Maybe even delay a game, yeah.
Yeah, delay of game. But that will take us to 57.8 seconds remaining.
Start there. But that looks like a 10-yard play.
And that's a costly penalty.
Yeah.
Especially when you're within the red zone, you're within 15 yards of the end zone. The last thing you want to do is shoot yourself in the foot and get a penalty.
Yeah, 5-yard penalty there, and it just takes them just out of the edge of the red zone there. And I mean,
right.
In the red zone, they can definitely utilize JT Erickson a lot more, get him pounding up the middle there. I mean, back here, who knows what they're going to do?
Absolutely. I would expect probably a throw to Leal. I don't think he'll get much out of it. If anything, I think we can expect 10 yards or less.
Well, I think it depends here. I mean, do they want to go with their tried and true running back and who might get tackled depending on what Mountain Vista's defense does, or do they go with a more risky play, try and throw it to someone, most likely Zach Leal, who doesn't have much of an ability for yak or yards after the catch,
Right. What if they went with a hybrid? What if they went with, kind of a play action pass? They look like they're going to give it to to JT Erickson, and then JT Erickson goes up the middle, stands there at 5 yards, and maybe the linebackers don't see it and he can get it in, or maybe the linebackers do see it and they stop it right away or something. I don't know. Pooter faced with a kind of interesting conundrum here.
Well, I think right now I would say look to Josiah Stribling. He's 6'3". He's a good target. He's had a few catches so far this game. Maybe even Keon Roxa. It depends, really.
Right, and now Pooter will have 3 wideouts on the left side, opening up that right side, and they'll throw it to him, try to get that one-on-one matchup, and it'll come up empty. Looked like pass interference there.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Stribling was being held back there from getting over towards that corner of the end zone.
Right, kind of a bad call, at least the Mountain Vista side thinks so. And that will be called on Michael Brennan for pass interference. That will reduce the yardage by half, and Pooter will now get what was an unachievable touchdown reduced to maybe something that could happen.
Well, like I was saying, I mean, if you need a good conversion in like the 20-yard line around, I would look to Josiah Stribling. He's 6'3". He's their tallest target on the wide receiver core. And, I mean, they did there. They tried to go to him, and I guess he just got held back a little bit by Michael Brennan there on the corner.
Right.
That's the penalty.
And it's obvious when they have those 3 receivers bunched up on the short side of the field that they're trying to create separation like that. If you have one guy taking up 70% of the field, that should be an indicator to the Mountain Vista defense. Brennan did a good job of covering it up until the very end there.
Yeah, I would say that was pretty good coverage. It's just when he made the break towards the corner there, Brennan couldn't keep up, and he knew the throw was coming, so I guess he just gave him a little tug on the jersey, and that was all they needed.
Right, and I know at least myself, I'd rather see some pass interference than a touchdown. 43 and a half seconds left before the teams will go back to their respective locker rooms.
And, I mean, 1st and 10 here at the 11-yard line. I would favorite Pooter here to get a score right before halftime, and we'll have to see how that affects them if they do. Absolutely,
and as we see, Mountain Vista called a timeout. Coach Cash politely screaming at them to do their job, and so we'll see what they do here.
I'd say that's definitely a pivotal moment of this half here. What are they going to
Absolutely.
do here to try and stop them? Cash getting involved directly with the play calling here.
Right.
What's he going to do to try and stop them within the 10-yard line pretty much?
Right, and so now Matt Hoopmaker lined up, standing straight up in the A gap there as Pooter lines up. And it looks like they're going to pass,
Ooh,
and they will get a touchdown
Zach Leal.
to end the half. 40.2 seconds. That went to Zach Leal,
Yeah, I mean,
as you had predicted.
it's his favorite target. I
Yeah.
mean, I would bet whenever Troy McFadden goes to throw, I would put a good chunk of my money on Zach Leal getting the throw.
Really? How much?
Enough. Well,
Enough.
let's just say that.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say that either Zach Leal or JT Erickson will get the ball 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
And so now it's 14-21. Mountain Vista behind. Oh, that's yep. With 40 seconds left in the half.
We'll be right back.
All right, and as we top off this half, Pooter will be kicking it away to the Mountain Vista Golden Eagles. Something interesting, kick returns for Mountain Vista. And the squib kick there. And that's the goal for Pooter. Get him down, get him in some not so ideal conditions to run it back into the end zone.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do on this drive here because they've only got 40 seconds before the half. So are they going to go aggressive, try and get a touchdown to level it up, or at least maybe even a field goal, try and bring it back closer?
Right.
Or are they going to just play conservative, run it out to the end of the half, and then try and regroup in the locker room?
Absolutely. And Campbell's a young guy, so we'll see if he can air it out here potentially.
Yeah, this is a high-pressure situation.
But it looks like Campbell will take it. Offensive line not so great there, but he manages to get it away to Whiteside, who stumbles a little bit. Not the world's most costly mistake, but the Mountain Vista offense will have to rush.
Yeah, they're going
And Tristan Smith going blazing in motion there. And Campbell trying to get separation, and he'll get it to Smith, who he knows can run, and they'll get it out on the sidelines to try and create some time. 16 seconds left in the half. Mountain Vista at roughly the 50. Brandon, do you think Campbell can do it?
It's definitely possible. It depends on how much space gets open up the middle here. I want to see him throw it up the middle.
Absolutely. I think, though, what they'll try and do is probably throw on the side.
They'll try and keep it on the sidelines. But if there's a hole in the middle, I think he needs to exploit it. If
Well,
they can get the safety separated, he needs to get that hole.
Absolutely. That'll be challenging, though, as they're trying to watch the clock. Ooh! Aaron Albertson almost with that hole up the middle, like you said.
There's a flag on the play.
Ooh!
Maybe pass interference here. This could come up field here.
Let's take a look. Refs are going to figure it out. 11.3 seconds left in this half.
Well, it looks like everyone's moving up. It looks like they might have already figured it out. It might be on Pooter here.
And the refs are getting it sorted out. The flag was thrown where the pass was dropped, so that's good news regarding Mountain Vista. It could potentially be moved up, and it looks like they are moving the chains. And so with 11 seconds, Mountain Vista is going to have to decide, and no timeouts, if they're going to go for it, and it looks like they are. Campbell will take it, and he'll pass, and he'll get it to Smith,
Who drops
and
it.
almost comes up with it.
I mean, only 6 seconds left here. I would look to them to just go deep to the end zone, try and give them as much coverage and protection as they can, and just get all those wide receivers up the field in a bit of a Hail Mary situation here.
Right, they're too far outside for a field goal to be possible.
And there's too little time to go for a check down.
Right. And so they're going to really try to air it out here, and you can see the corners on the Pooter side really being aggressive then. Campbell taking it. Steps up. Aaron Albertson comes up with it, and if he can take it, they're at the 5. An exciting way to end that half. They almost come up with the score to even it out to get that to the half. However, 14-21 will be your score at halftime.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the half. Mountain Vista comes out onto the field. They'll get some time to rally, stretch up a little bit, limber up, and then get ready to take it to the Impalas for the second half. So far, we've seen some great stuff out of both sides. JT Erickson is a horse of a running back who cannot be stopped, despite whatever defensive front Mountain Vista throws at it. And so it really comes down to the secondary guys. Whereas Mountain Vista, Campbell Lancaster is really stepping up as a first-year rookie guy. He's doing an amazing job. And so now I think the question will be, who's going to fire back more? Because we're going to see a lot of back and forth at this point. A lot of Mountain Vista getting those big explosive drives, and then dead air from Mountain Vista, and then a lot of just consistency out of Pooter, just a lot of pounding it out and grinding it down the field. So what I'll be interested to see is, are we going to see the same people coming to or starting to emerge out of the game, or are they going to start to get tired? Especially on the Pooter side of things, considering that Pooter has quite a few guys playing on both sides of the ball. I'm looking at the stat sheet here. It's at least 10, 20 guys who are running on both sides of the ball, and so that's definitely going to wear them out at this point. So don't be surprised if Pooter has had their most explosive half. Mountain Vista still looks good and ready to go. As they're running right now, you can see that they have some energy still. Pooter looks a little bit more tired, a little bit looser, but at the same time, a little bit more out of the game than Mountain Vista. And so as we go into the second half, I'll be interested to see, are they going to have, not Caden Wetzel, number 9, Colton Whiteside, running more up the middle or along the side. And how much are they going to be incorporating him versus Noah Hicks, since Whiteside had a really big role in the first half. Additionally, how are our receivers going to fare this half? It was basically an all Campbell Lancaster and Tristan Smith receiving core there. And so I'll be interested to see if the game of pass between those two can be expanded to maybe, a couple more guys, to Aaron Albertson and Johnny Evans and whoever our flex guy is, whether that be Cameron Williams or Jason Kapernakis or Jarrett Sussmat. And so we're seeing some good stuff there. Interestingly enough, special teams has been making a splash this game. We had that almost return at the very beginning, and then we've had several brought back due to penalties, as well as a lot of punt plays, and just some interesting stuff to consider. Additionally, we have some new kickers on the Mountain Vista team, as is traditional, particularly Thomas Hall. He's the one kicking all of the field goals. He's a great guy. And with 32 seconds left, Mountain Vista will line up on the sidelines as they prepare to kick it off to start the half and give Pooter the ball. All right, Mountain Vista runs out onto the gridiron as they prepare to kick it away. To start this half, it's Mountain Vista 14, Pooter 21. Brady Stevens will kick that. Bit of a squib kick there. Whether that was intentional or not, we don't know, but he'll get it to the 5. And then that will be returned for quite a bit of distance there from Pooter.
Wow.
He'll get it up to the 40.
Another really good play by Zach Leal there. He's just done it all tonight. A wide receiver, running back doing jet sweeps, as a kick returner, as a punt returner. He's been doing it all tonight.
Oh, he's been amazing. Zach Leal and JT Erickson and Troy McFadden are pretty much the entire Pooter offense.
Yeah, really.
Not including their offensive line. He's
Of
probably
course.
the stud of the game there.
Yeah. And, I mean, you've got to get credit to people like Tate Satterfield and number 7, Josiah Stribling. He's been contributing on throws.
Absolutely.
The question is whether Troy McFadden can spread out those throws more to not just Zach Leal, but also to Stribling and Raxa. And, you know, try and spread the ball around more.
Yeah. Oh, Mountain Vista tracks him down. Max Rupert had him, but he kind of just slipped loose there. Thankfully, number 59 on the Mountain Vista side of the ball, Brendan Moorhead, was able to really secure that sack, but that will definitely get in their heads as that'll bring them back to a 2nd and 20 situation.
Gotta say, I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback stiff arm a guy so hard in my life.
Yeah, it's unconventional for a quarterback to stiff arm a linebacker and come out on top.
Yeah, definitely a really good play for Vista, though.
Absolutely, and they'll run a bubble, and that will be called incomplete. I've seen that before where it looks like it's a trick play. A lot of the times they'll try and bounce it from behind so that everyone thinks it's a dead ball when it's really counted as a fumble. And so the play continues, but everyone's caught off guard. And so I'm interested that they tried that at this point, considering that they're not in great field position and that they're ahead by a touchdown. So I guess, I mean, it's an okay time to do it, but
I don't know. It just looked like a bad throw to me, but, I mean, it could have been.
yeah. And Pooter will throw it again. And they'll air it out to the sideline, and he'll catch that.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Amazing catch
Zach
there
Leal,
by
yep.
Zach Leal.
I mean, he's been doing it all.
Absolutely. And so that will put them in positive territory now. They'll get up to the 40. And there's looks like a dispute between Coach Cash and the ref there. And they will
they're going to bring
out
it back. Oh, I don't agree with that one. I think Leal had that on the sideline.
Really? Did they say it wasn't good?
They're bringing it back now.
It did look, I could see where they would make an argument for that because it looked almost like he hopped over the line and caught it.
Yeah, it definitely did. I think I think the problem might have been is that he jumped just as he got the ball, so his toes didn't really tap well enough for them to make a definitive call. But I don't know. I could see from what it looks like up here in the booth, I would have said that he had that one on the sideline.
I wouldn't have thought it, but obviously the Pooter crowd here not terribly upset by it.
Yeah.
So
Now it's 3rd and 33 here.
wow, way to go! Or that's a big way to go.
Oh, here
but
comes
here
JT
comes
Erickson.
JT Erickson with the stiff arm and 2, and he almost breaks free there. But
I mean,
the
still 10 yards.
right, the 12th man caught up to him there in the sidelines.
I mean, even in 3rd and 33, they'll give it to him and he'll get a 10-yard gain. What
Right.
can you do?
That's amazing. At this point, they might just be going for record yards with JT Erickson.
Possible. I don't think that's their game plan considering they're winning right now, but maybe.
Right, and they'll punt it away. And Mountain Vista will get some pretty good field position here. Tristan Smith will scoop it up, kind of shaky, but he manages to stay on his feet and get a great return. He manages to take that for about 20 yards from where he originally returned it.
I got to say, you got to give Vlad Clark good credit on that punt again. I mean, did you see it? It was low. It was dipping fast. It was ahead of Smith, so he had to run up and try and grab that totally outstretched in his arms. That's a prime opportunity for a drop.
Right.
And he was really lucky to get that one. And even more lucky, I would say, to be able to weave his way through that, through all those blockers and get some yards out of that.
Absolutely. Kind of an unlikely matchup between a receiver and a punter.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That was a good run there by number 12. Or not number 12.
Are you thinking
Noah Hicks.
Noah Hicks,
Yes.
yeah.
Noah Hicks.
Ooh, and not so good run there. And right now, Mountain Vista kind of hurrying it up a little bit, trying to run it fast. And they'll give it back to Hicks, and they'll try to push out a first down from the run game here. So far, coming up unsuccessful. It's now 4th down on the. Oh, it's good
It's a
for
first
first
down.
and 10. So they will actually get the first, and they're now at the 27-yard line.
I don't know if you noticed, but I got to say, real man moment there from Campbell Lancaster trying to push the pile, not just standing back and letting the play run out. He's getting up there trying to push that pile forward to get that first down.
Absolutely. I think Campbell might be the guy that Mountain Vista can really rally behind in these coming years.
I think he might be a Judd Erickson renaissance here. Oh, false start here. They're going to move them back 5 yards. Yeah, though, I agree with you. I think Campbell Lancaster could be something of an offensive renaissance here.
Absolutely. He reminds me a little bit of a young Judd Erickson.
Yeah, maybe in his
quite
sophomore
as
year.
He almost reminds me, though, of like, obviously he's not as skilled as a professional quarterback, but almost he acts and holds himself the way that like Andrew Luck or Aaron Rodgers would, where he's not necessarily afraid. He can move around in the pocket, but he's primarily a passer.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I mean, that was a really good pass there on the sideline to Cameron Williams. I mean, it was a little bit high, but I mean, sometimes, you know, you just are off a little bit. But that was still a good read, a good throw.
Absolutely. And here they'll give it again to Noah Hicks. He is not bad at producing some yards here.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Colton Whiteside hasn't featured as much as I would say that we would think he would have.
Absolutely. Well, they were a little heavy with him in the first half, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they're giving him some rest, and he'll make some an appearance, I'm guessing, in about 5 minutes.
Well, they brought out another running back here, number 20, Matt Smith, to fill up the backfield.
I bet Matt will probably be just a blocker here. Or they'll feed it right to him, and Matt will get a bit of a breakaway run here as he breaks a couple ankles. Get him the first down.
That's pretty tough right there. 3rd and 2, gives it to your sophomore running back who probably hasn't had a snap in the varsity team ever, and he gets a first down. I mean,
that's pretty impressive. That guy was playing freshman ball last year. That was his last game that he played in.
Yeah.
And now they'll snap it. And they'll fake it.
Oh, Campbell Lancaster
and Campbell will take it.
Oh.
Kind of a respect move there for his team. He tried to truck the guy. Didn't really come out in his favor. But,
I mean, you see the Pooter guy was a bit slow to get up there. He might have won that one.
Not bad.
Yeah,
Campbell's looking really good.
There's a really good instinct there. He knew the pressure was coming up behind him from the left side, so he scrambles out to the right, sees a bit of a hole, takes about a yard or two.
Absolutely. And Mountain Vista in the definite red zone now, as they'll do another option, and Campbell will take it up the middle, and they'll drive the pile, get about a yard out of it. Man.
Noah Hicks coming back on again, though.
Really?
Means they might be running it here. Yeah, Noah Hicks coming on for Matt Smith. Matt Smith.
Let's take a look. They've had great results with the running game so far. It's now, though, about 3rd and 5.
I would look for a pass here, actually, I would say.
I agree, especially with the way they have the wideouts stacked.
Positioned, yeah. Looking to the right.
They isolate him.
Oh, Cameron Williams, just a bit too high for him. And that's going to be 4th down, and they're probably going to go for a field goal here.
Right, and I would say that's some debatable pass interference there. It looked like Cameron Williams' left arm was being held down a little bit by the corner, but obviously I'm not up close enough to notice.
Yeah. Here comes the kicking unit.
Yep. And here comes Thomas Hall back out on the field. Tristan Smith holding the snap for him. Tristan Smith kind of the all-around guy tonight.
Yeah, really. He's basically the Zach Leal from Mountain Vista.
And they'll long snap it to Tristan. Little high, but he grabs it. And
I believe that one might have been blocked. At least
I don't
tipped
think
in
so.
some way.
I think what happened was the laces were in on that because of that high snap. So Tristan wasn't able to have enough time to rotate the ball.
Definitely possible, yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely got to be a bit of a blow to Mountain Vista's confidence, and hopefully they can just come back strong from that one.
Absolutely. And since we're watching the broadcast as well, we're on a bit of a lag as far as that. So we'll actually get another opportunity to tell you guys what happened. So it's the high snap. And, yep, laces were in. And so there was nothing that the kicker could really do about that, especially when you see a kick go a little wonky like that without anyone tipping it.
Yeah, that was just some bad luck there.
Right.
Well, I mean, here comes Pooter again. We'll see what they can do with this offensive drive.
Absolutely. And you're hoping now, if you're on the offensive sidelines of Mountain Vista, you want your defense to do well. You want some redemption after that.
Definitely. You want to get back out on the field as soon as possible and atone for that mistake there.
Right. And now with just under 7 minutes, Mountain Vista is on the defensive side of the ball. So far doing well. Holding them to a 2nd down, but, only the first play of this drive.
They're going with a really heavy set here, only 2 wide receivers.
Absolutely. Almost like a nickel and dime coming up. And they'll run it to JT Erickson, so not a bad call from the Mountain Vista sidelines there.
Means a
However,
first down.
they'll get a first.
I mean, we got to see here because towards the end of that first half, Pooter started focusing a bit more on the pass, especially focusing on Zach Leal, trying to get him involved as much as possible. We're going to have to see now if they're going to try and bring it back towards JT Erickson in the ground pound run game here.
Absolutely, and that could be a hint of what we're going to see, especially as we have that nickel and dime set back.
Alright, so you move that SD card.
And just as expected, they feed it to JT Erickson, but he only brings it to the 35-yard line, getting about 4 yards off of that play. Not his best, but 4 yards is nothing to scoff at and turn your nose up at.
It looks like we've got a Mountain Vista player down here on the field.
Let's see. Looks like one of our linebackers potentially. Not Hoopmaker. It could be Griffin Barnard. We'll find out in a second. Absolutely not what you want to see for anyone.
Especially because, as we know, Joey Chris has already been injured as a cornerback.
Right. And it looks like this is Ryan Lee. And that's not really the best of news because Ryan Lee, number one, he plays both sides, so he plays both offense and defense. So that's a big blow to Mountain Vista there. However, Mountain Vista's a little bit thin on defensive line, and so as we start to bring in some of those starters, we could see some struggling areas for Mountain Vista's defense.
Yeah, definitely. I think this could be a big problem here.
Right, and so what I'll be interested to see is if, Ryan Lee is back, just like, I don't know, did Joey Chrisa come back? Joey, I think, stayed on the sidelines.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's been on the sidelines.
Right, and so this is a double injury game for Mountain Vista, and a couple on the Pooter side as well. Something you never really want to see. And so,
yeah, definitely.
Right, so both teams are kind of invested here. And last year, Mountain Vista put up the highest amount of points they've ever scored in a game against Pooter, and so Pooter took that to heart, especially after they took out their starting QB. And now, let's see, when was the last time Pooter had a winning season? With
2008.
2008. So Pooter's trying to come back with a winning season, and this could be kind of a defining game for them, don't you think?
It's definitely possible, yeah. I mean, it is still early in the season, but with the way that they played against Douglas County, anything is possible.
Absolutely. And Ryan Lee is able to get up. However, he's kind of keeping pressure off of that right foot.
Yeah, they're gonna limp him off the field here.
Yeah, he's not even putting really any pressure on that. Looks better than I would have expected. However, don't be surprised if he's out for the game. So Mountain Vista obviously will have to adjust their front here, adjust their plan, and this will affect them on both sides of the ball as he's on both offensive and defensive line. And so it looks like they bring out Jack Bacher to fill that position, and they'll give it to JT Erickson, who won't get too far up the field, but he's threatening another first down. And now it's 3rd down and 2 with 5 minutes and 25 seconds left.
Looks like they just brought out Max Rupert again to play as a linebacker once more. Seems like they're going to try and stiffen up their linebacker core here.
Right. And as we can see now, they're sending Matt Hoopmaker in the A-gap to try and blitz, counteract some of that JT Erickson. But it doesn't look like it's going to work out for him. And now it's down to the free safety and JT breaks free, and he will go all the way to the end zone.
Well, there's 5 minutes left in this third quarter here, and there's definitely still time to respond, but I mean, that's definitely got to hurt. You miss a field goal, and then Pooter comes back, scores a touchdown I would say pretty easily.
Right.
So, I mean,
especially those last 2 tackles, it didn't seem like there was much of an effort.
I mean, you got to give credit to JT Erickson. Beautiful run as usual from him.
Oh, absolutely. Let's see. We have the stats on him. Let's see. JT Erickson He's 5'11" and 200 pounds, so this dude is a beast.
Yeah, he's definitely got a lot of agility.
Yeah. So, well, for the speed that he runs at, he's got to be a pretty big guy to be 5'11" and 200 pounds. And so that's just something that Mountain Vista is going to have to try to overcome, not giving them the opportunities. Any ideas?
I mean, the only thing that I would really say right about now is to just try and pinch in your linebackers a little bit. But even then, I mean, you would have to rely on your corners more than if he runs outside. So, I mean, it's still a high-risk situation.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know if there's too much they can do other than just try and keep up offensively and then try and get a few lucky breaks on the defensive side.
Absolutely.
Which, I mean, they had it last drive with some good penalties, and then they were way far back, so they had to punt. It just depends on if they can keep on doing that, really.
Right. And you mentioned that high risk. We talked with Coach Cash before the game. He talked a lot about how the goal of Mountain Vista and the way they play their game is it's high risk, high reward. So maybe while Pooter's playing a low-stakes game, they're playing, roulette. Mountain Vista's playing the slots.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I think we're going to have to see how Mountain Vista responds on this drive. I think this drive is probably going to define this game here.
Right, and they'll squib kick it, and they'll elect to return it as Bryce Williams will pick that up, and he'll get to the 35, almost the 40.
Well, here comes on the replacement for Ryan Lee in the left tackle position here, Ian Hudgens. Oh, looks like Ian Hudgens is going to come off here. Seems like someone else is going to fill that position. Ryan Lee's left vacant with his injury. Well, that's definitely a good starting drive run here for Mountain Vista. A good few-yard gain for Noah Hicks. But they didn't really get any yards from that 2nd and 10 again.
And they'll run it. Oh, option play. And Campbell will hold on to it and fumble it and lose some yards.
It.
And Pooter will
That's a touchdown.
Scoop and score.
Oh, Noah Hicks? Did he stop him? No.
Potentially, they'll give it to Pooter, though. So what was a one-score game has now become a three-score game. And so, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see. It looks a little bit like Mountain Vista's offense is getting a little bit in that defeated mentality.
I don't know. The question is, I would say, the question really about that play there was that Campbell Lancaster's fault? And I would say, for that, I would say no.
Really?
Because I think, from what I saw, I think that he was trying to go to his receiver out there, which I believe was Williams, Johnny Evans out there on that far left side. And I think he was trying to pitch it forwards to him. And I think the defensive man caught his arm and brought it in as he was trying to pitch. So as he let go, he didn't get the distance on it he wanted. Because it didn't look like that he was hit hard enough for him to really fumble the ball.
It could be.
And he was only holding it with his right hand.
Right.
I mean, it's something you got to work on as a sophomore quarterback.
And they'll score on a 2-point conversion with JT Erickson. Excuse me.
Touchdown, yeah.
That wasn't the touchdown before. This is now the touchdown.
So Noah Hicks did get him on the 1-yard line.
Well, good job, Noah Hicks. You now have a tackle.
I don't know if that's something to be too proud of, though.
No. However, we're down to 4:20 in the third quarter as Mountain Vista is tailing 14-35. I'm assuming 35. Yep.
And we'll be right back.
And now Pooter gets out to kick it off to the Mountain Vista Golden Eagles once more. Back to return. Looks like Tristan Smith will almost get that one. Mountain Vista pulling some squib kicks, and Jarrett Sussmat will get that one. And he's able to scrounge out a couple more yards there, get it up to the 40, so not bad. However, they're trying to pull some squib kicks, maybe catch our hands team off guard. But I bet at this point, that's who they have out there.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see what they do here on the offensive front. Because, I mean, at this point, you pretty much have to pass it. And the question here is going to be, is Campbell Lancaster capable enough to get a drive here? Another low snap and a fumble. That looked like Matt Smith there, the sophomore running back there, fumbled the snap but recovered it.
Right. I don't know who's at center right now. I think it's Ben Hildebrand. But if I were the coach, I would either call a timeout and talk to him or send in another guy just for a few seconds because it looks like he's getting tired and he's maybe too focused on the nose tackle there.
He's been having a lot of problems this game.
Right.
Ooh.
And
low throw there.
Good catch there by
Aaron
Aaron Albertson. However, kind of a risky throw as it didn't really come out of Campbell's hands correctly.
I feel like that one was headed for Tristan Smith, and it just didn't have enough energy on it, so Albertson had to dive out in front of it there. 3rd and 8 here.
Mountain Vista will take it. Finally getting some good pass protection there for a second.
Ooh.
And
that one might be just short of the first down here, like 1 yard.
it looks, because the point of reception was just barely like maybe a yard in front. But Tristan Smith coming up well with it. 4th and inches. I say at this point, you got 3 minutes left in the third quarter. You're down by 3 scores.
You got to go
for it.
You have to.
Absolutely. And they're going to take out the chains and measure it, looks like.
Possibly, yeah. And it looks like it is. Yep, they're going to bring the chains out here.
Yep. This Pooter looks good, or this Pooter team looks good. They look like they're potentially the best that they've been in 9-10 years.
I mean, we can't forget that last year, even though they didn't have a winning season, they were 5-5. So,
right.
I mean, they're definitely not bad. And a lot of those games that they lost were really close games, like a 17-14 to 35-33, I think I saw one of them. So I think they're definitely not shabby. I think that the problem last year was that they had injuries, obviously with Troy McFadden being out for the whole year, pretty much, and just maybe just some bad luck, and their schedule was a bit tough sometimes.
Right, and Mountain Vista will get the first down as it comes out in their favor. They pull out the chains, and the ball is just past it. Kind of a close one there.
Yeah. But, yeah, as I was saying, I think that definitely Pooter does have the ability to win games and have a winning season this year, and I think they're only going to get better now that people like J.T. Erickson and Troy McFadden, are seniors now.
Right. And maybe what we're seeing here, too, is since Mountain Vista blew them out last year, blew out Pooter, perhaps they were overconfident and didn't take Pooter seriously enough, which is not necessarily a bad thing because usually some of the best teams overthink the hard games and they win those and they don't think enough on the short ones. And now Campbell will take it again. And he'll give it off to Hicks. And Hicks will try and get a few yards.
It's definitely interesting to see them still committing somewhat to the run game. That's 2 runs in a row for Hicks there.
Right. Especially with the lead that Pooter has right now and just the timing, given that there's 2 minutes, well, just about 2 minutes left in the third quarter, I wouldn't really think that running game would be an emphasis. I would think you'd try to pass it more, but maybe they don't trust him.
I mean, there obviously is merit to having a balanced game plan here, but when you're down 3 scores, I would say pass.
And there we go.
That's a good pass there.
One right to Cameron Williams. Looks like a slant route there that started to go upfield right into the middle. And so good job there by Cameron Williams getting a few yards.
Yeah. I think that was a really good throw there. He threw it low, so that way only Cameron could get to it. And then he gets down fast so he can't get hit and drop the ball or anything. Just guaranteeing the first down.
And Campbell does a good job of avoiding the pressure, and he'll get rid of it. That way it's incomplete. It'll buy him some time, and it'll kind of give them an opportunity to collect themselves. And I think it might be coming down to the O-line here.
Yeah, I think the thing is that he looked for that same read again to Williams first, and then by the time that he tried to make his second read when he saw that Williams wasn't exactly open, he was already getting pressured, so he had to step up and just make a decision.
Right. And a great job there. There's the sophomore again.
Matt Smith.
Matt Smith, what a guy.
Matt Smith is definitely making a case for maybe backup starter here.
Absolutely. He's outperforming Noah Hicks right now.
He's outperforming Colton Whiteside right now.
Absolutely.
Colton Whiteside's probably the weakest of the three.
Right, and we haven't seen him at all in the second
first
half.
quarter.
And now with 1:05 left in the third quarter, Mountain Vista will line up in that spread offense with one back deep. Matt Smith. And Campbell will throw it to Cameron Williams.
Caught again. Yep. Another first down.
They'll call it. Now they're in the red zone at the 20.
Gotta say, another low snap by Ben Hildebrand though.
Right.
They're having, that center, Ben Hildebrand, he's having some struggles right now.
Right. Usually when you look at that, it's not so much that the center doesn't know how to snap it. It's more that they're more focused on the guy in front of them.
Yeah.
And so you want to see Ben Hildebrand if he's really getting pushed back by that guy, because that could be playing an influence. And he was a little bit there, especially in that pass blocking, because he's going up against a big guy.
Definitely, yeah. That screen pass there to Aaron Albrechtson was definitely an interesting idea. We haven't seen a screen pass since about the second quarter here.
Right, and they lost, looks like a yard on it, or maybe they got back to the line of scrimmage. But now Campbell will air it out again. And he'll give it to Tristan Smith. And he'll take it out of the sidelines around the 9-yard line. And that will get them the first down, and it's now 1st and goal.
Alrighty, can Campbell Lancaster close off this drive with a touchdown here?
And can Mountain Vista regain some of their momentum with 9.5 seconds left in this third quarter.
Noah Hicks back out for the single running back spot there. 4 wide receivers, 2 left, 2 right. I looked to Albrechtson in the slot on the right side there.
But Campbell will hold on to it and run it himself. He'll get more than a few yards. He'll get about 5 yards out of that, 4 yards. And he'll get it to the 3. So it's now 2nd and goal.
And that brings the third quarter to a close here. We're going to come back to you in a minute with the start of the fourth quarter.
All right, and welcome back as Mountain Vista lines up on the opposite, about 4-yard line, as they're going to look to plug it into the end zone here and kind of regain some of their lost ground. And Campbell will hold on to it and throw it just outside. He was getting some pressure there. So
flag on the field. This could be a defensive pass interference here.
Looks like that to me, especially because he went to the ground quickly and it looked like it was out of his own power.
It looks like he might have been pushed there by his cornerback as he was trying to get down low.
Right. That wouldn't do a whole much except for resetting the down for him, as well as reducing the distance to half of what it is now, from 5 yards to 2.5 yards.
Which, I mean, it could be huge considering this would be third down.
Right.
Oh, yep, he's going to move it forward.
So now Mountain Vista will take it from the 2-yard line. All they really need here is a good run block from the offensive line to push it in with Cameron Williams or, honestly, Matt Smith. Could get his first big boy touchdown.
I think it's still Noah Hicks out there right now, though. Yeah, it's Noah Hicks.
They'll give it to him,
Noah
and
Hicks.
he'll run it on the outside and almost get it.
I think he reached. Yep, he got
it. They'll give it a touchdown.
Really
Mountain
good
Vista
reach
21. Not bad.
That was a really good play there by Noah Hicks there with that reach. He
Absolutely.
just barely got it out across the pylon as he fell. That was beautiful.
That was beautiful, and he did a great job of knowing exactly when to do that, because sometimes players will do that too early and they'll cut themselves short and they'll get it to the 1 yard line instead.
Yeah, especially because it also leaves you open to fumbling sometimes. So
Right.
I mean, it's definitely important to get that down just right.
Right, so great job, Noah Hicks. There's a touchdown for you. And now Thomas Hall will be back out for the extra point. Let's see how this snap goes. Snap is
Another
again high.
one. And he
However,
puts that
they were
one
able
away.
to get the laces right
Yeah.
this time.
And that's going to be a huge confidence booster for Hall there. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's always hard to come back from a missed kick of any kind. And I mean, to put one away like that, that's perfect.
Right. And so I don't know if Ben Hildebrand is also the long snapper. It's hard to distinguish, but it looks like he is. And so I think he could use some rest, honestly. I hope the defense is able to do a stop on 4 downs, but for Ben's sake, maybe they could give him some time.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. But I mean, then you do have to consider who would come in to replace him. I mean, he is the senior.
Right. And so that might be something that they'd look for in the coming weeks as they go over game film and practice. They might be looking at kind of what they can do to improve, and maybe it's the long snapping depth.
It's always a possibility, yeah.
Absolutely. And here comes Thomas Hall back out again to kick it off. Now confers with the ref. They get it all set up. The crowd starting to get back into it now following that touchdown. And Pooter lines up in an interesting front. They've got 10 guys within 20 yards, and then one guy back deep. And they'll onside kick it.
Oh, that guy got
Ooh.
leveled.
And some good contact on the the even 50 there. Pooter will come up with it.
I mean, another great play there by the unsung hero, Tate Satterfield. He got absolutely leveled there, but he held on to that one.
Absolutely. And now with 11 minutes and 50 seconds in the fourth quarter, this is where Mountain Vista usually tends to shine, is the fourth quarter.
Yeah, we'll have to look and see definitely if the defense can step up and if Campbell Lancaster can keep his good form going.
Right. It'll be a real kind of hit or miss situation here. And it's going to come down to the maturity of the team and the players.
Are you all? What? Are you all? I didn't hear that. So you probably your phones. Yeah.
Well, then here's an interesting situation. Looks like they're going to re-kick it here.
Typically, that means that Mountain Vista didn't get the ball far enough, and they incurred a penalty.
It's possible, yeah.
Right.
We'll have to see what if they're going to do the same onside kick strategy again here, or if they're going to try and maybe fake them out, go deep or something. It looks like they're going to squib it.
And they'll fair catch it.
The ever-present Zach Leal.
Zach Leal's highlight film is going to be good tonight.
Oh yeah, he's been carrying a big load for this team.
Absolutely. Him, JT Erickson, and let's see, the quarterback, Troy McFadden, all doing well. However, it's now Mountain Vista's defense that gets their opportunity to really show what they're made of. Remember, it comes down to these linebackers tonight as they're facing off in their new front that's really designed around them.
Well, I think it's also going to have to come down to the defensive linemen as well to really step up, make sure they close down as many holes as they can, and just try and get on top of JT Erickson before he can get out into the open.
Absolutely, and we're seeing a lot of pressure up the middle there to try and prevent JT Erickson, and that'll be Yaki who initiates that tackle, and they'll bring him down. Looks like at the line of scrimmage or maybe even a yard before.
Yep,
so some good improvement there.
Yeah, see, as you could see there, the defensive line really got up there fast, got through that offensive line pretty quickly, and then they were just able to swarm JT before he could get it to the outside.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so I'll be interested to see here. what kind of stunts they can do up front on the defensive line to see if they can stop anything, and how many times they're going to be blitzing with the linebackers and who's going to be waiting back for if he breaks away. And they have a couple guys in motion here, a play we've seen before. And they'll run it to JT Erickson, and he gets a little bit stuffed up at the line, and looks like he lost the ball. And there's an eagle and an impala fighting over it. Ref will call it.
Oh, this could be really important here.
And it could go either way.
Oh. It looks
Waiting
like
for the
they're
call.
keep it with the Impalas here.
Close, but good opportunity for a fighting chance.
I mean, that just demonstrates the point there. I mean, T.J. Erickson was caught in the backfield there, or J.T. Erickson, sorry, was caught in the backfield there. And, I mean, he still just gets free.
Right. Difficult to do.
4 yards. And now it's 3rd and 6, though. We'll have to see what they're going to do here.
Absolutely. I would expect they're going to give it to JT, considering he's their big producer. However, Mountain Vista's been doing well this time around on this drive with the defensive front.
Well, there's only 2 wide receivers out here.
Right, and there's 2 tight end, or fullback and a tight end. And they're looking for encroachment, and they're not getting it. And they're going to call a timeout.
I think there might have been some confusion about the play there. Looks like McFadden and the rest were looking back to try and figure out what was going on.
Absolutely. And so I'm interested to see, because it looked like they either had, well, I think they had a fullback and a tight end there, but it was definitely a heavy set, which implies a running game. But you can always do a kind of a trick play off of that, where you send the tight end on a wheel route, and they go score. So interesting time for them to try the Mountain Vista corners and tempt them, especially the outside linebackers as well.
Yeah, especially with Joey Christa out. I'm surprised they haven't been tempting the corners a bit more here, especially because they have some good receivers, especially Zach Leal and Stribling.
Right.
Like, I don't get why they haven't been a bit more pass-focused, considering they know that they've taken out one of the corners, one of the starters.
Yeah, maybe it comes down to Troy McFadden and his confidence as he plants with that leg. Maybe he can't get the power that he needs, but there comes Zach Leal.
Yeah. I think that was about the right time to test the corners there. It's 3rd and 6, so you go deep.
Right. And now that puts them in positive field territory as they're now on the Mountain Vista 40, looking to score off of this drive.
Well, I mean, they almost had a stop there. They had a possible fumble, although Pooter did manage to keep it. And they managed to get them down to a 3rd and 6. So, I mean, it's definitely some improvement from the Mountain Vista defense, but they needed to get a real 4th down stop.
Absolutely. And now Pooter's running a lot with that offensive line up front.
Oh, wow.
To do
Tate
stuff like this.
Satterfield.
And so I don't know if it's not that Mountain Vista's combating the blocking scheme enough or what it is, but I think Mountain Vista needs to put a little bit more into a matchup with each guy there.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great play right there. They've lined up in that whole formation all game, and usually they've been handing it off to Erickson up the middle. So why not just give it to Satterfield, let him sweep it across the field, and he just gets a great gain there.
Very smart play. Now Pooter will line back up. McFadden waiting for the snap, trying to run out the clock a little bit, maintain their lead, and they'll give it to Erickson, who will run it on a breakaway. And
he's unstoppable.
He'll
That's
walk
touchdown.
into the end zone.
Oh, the ref calls him out of bounds. I don't know if I agree with that one. I think that he was in.
That's an interesting call. As we watch it here in the booth, I'll be interested to see if he stepped out or not. To us, it looked like he was in.
It looks like there's also a flag out on the field.
Really?
Yeah, around the 10, around the little arrow on the 10-yard line there.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
It's on Pooter. They're bringing it all the way back anyways.
Yeah, it does look like he steps out here in the replay. He's barely out. It's kind of like that Broncos-Saints game in which the, I think it was Shane Ray, or one of our special teams linebackers was wearing white cleats, and so he stepped on the line. and they called it in, even though he was out.
Well, I guess it doesn't really matter anyways because they bring it back due to a penalty, so they're going to have to try again here.
Right. And not the same results for JT Erickson as Mountain Vista kind of comes up with a little bit more, showing some of the pride that they have in their defense as they attempt to stop him. And now with 9 minutes and about 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter, it'll be interesting to see if Mountain Vista can come back from this as they're 2 scores away, which Mountain Vista has done before in past years.
Yeah, it's still definitely possible to come back from this position, but they need to be able to get a stop here.
Right.
I think at this point they would definitely settle for a field goal as long as they can just get the ball back without letting them go back up to 21 points ahead.
Absolutely.
Satterfield on the sweep again.
But Mountain Vista isn't going to buy it this time. They'll stop them at the 15. It'll be third down and
third down and 7.
7, excuse me. And Pooter trying to run out the clock, trying to maintain their lead for as long as possible. They're going to be running it pretty much for the remainder of the game unless they're really far back in a fourth down situation. And so now it's really going to come down to the Mountain Vista run defense.
Seems like they just brought in 2 different receivers there. That's Dylan McVicker and number 10, Keon Roxa here coming on for this third down.
Oh, and there goes Mountain Vista defensive front.
Oh!
Almost a touchdown, called incomplete as the corner knocks it out. Amazing job there. Let's see, that was, looks like number 3, Caden Wetzel. What a, wow, not bad.
Actually, no, wait, I think that's number 2, Bryce Williams there, the safety.
Excellent job there.
Wow.
That's a pro move
really
right
good
there.
Play there. And they're going to have to go for the field goal here. Let's see if they can make it where we couldn't.
Don't be surprised if Mountain Vista really comes out aggressively. I think they have the potential to block this one. And they almost do. But it sails to the right. And it will be no good.
It's not good.
And Mountain Vista
that's a huge
starting
play.
to get some momentum.
Look at that. Huge play. Great play by Bryce Williams there on that coverage in the corner.
Absolutely. Bryce Williams, though he may not realize it now, may have just earned Mountain Vista a touchdown.
Yeah, I think that was number 7, Josiah Stribling over there in the corner of the end zone, and he went up really well to go get that one, but he just couldn't hold on to it. And number 2, Bryce Williams, he gets his hand right up in between Stribling's 2 hands that are holding onto the ball and just pops it right out.
Absolutely. And Stribling is a 6'3", 191-pound guy, so that's no small achievement there from Bryce Williams.
Really good job.
Yeah, and now Campbell will take it. Shotgun. Snap is decent. Oh, but the pass, not so much. His target was Aaron Albertson.
Yeah.
They're trying to kind of get it on that outside route to try and turn and go upfield a little bit. But I'll be interested to see if they start to do some over-the-middle stuff, considering they haven't done much of that.
Well, Lancaster definitely played pretty well in the last drive. We'll have to see if he can carry it over. That might have just been a little bit of a fluke, or maybe the pressure might even be getting to him a little bit. Hopefully not, but we'll have to see.
Right. And at this point, if you're Mountain Vista, you got nothing to lose.
Yeah,
you got every play in the books in your hands right now.
You can tell they're bringing out Matt Smith again.
Absolutely.
Sophomore running back, and letting him still get reps.
Now, I'm a fan of Matt Smith. I hope to be calling his name more throughout the year.
I like this kid. I think he's got good potential here.
I agree. So now we'll see what they do as they snap it to him on 3rd and 10. Campbell will take it. And he'll throw it out and gets close to a pick.
I believe that was towards number 7, Tristan Smith, but it looked like that might have just been a bad throw in general there.
Right.
Kind of going down in the middle of nowhere.
Right. And so with 7 minutes and 20 seconds left, they'll bring out the punting team. Kind of an interesting decision if you ask me. I would have kept our team out there, even considering that there's an end zone right there. I would have just gone for it.
I don't know. 4th and 10, I don't really think that they could go for it in that position. I don't think Cash could really make himself go for that one. That's a bit too dangerous. Especially because if they give up the touchdown, they're right back to where they started.
Right, and there's a high snap, and he tried to get him to touch it. Michael Brennan did. Didn't work out for him. And they'll be on the 40. 7-11 left in the fourth quarter. And now Pooter will have the ball as they're up 35-21. Mountain Vista has 3 timeouts left, probably strategically saving that to try and come back from the lead in these last few minutes. Pooter has 2 left, also probably trying to save theirs in case Mountain Vista is getting close and they can run out or they can stop them in that event.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how Pooter and Mountain Vista respectively handle this drive here.
Right.
Because for Pooter, this is definitely a game-breaking. Like, this is definitely, if they score here, this would be the straw that probably breaks the camel's back for Mountain Vista.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the Mountain Vista defense, if they can, get a fumble or get a pick, I think that we can honestly expect something from the Mountain Vista Golden Eagles to go right and go their way. So now we're under 7 minutes, which means we're starting to get down into crunch time. And Cash telling the defense we'll play their running. And we'll see kind of the spread 3-3 front up front there. However, we'll have the two outside linebackers very close up. It'll be interesting to see if they drop back into pass coverage or if they blitz. And they'll be on the read, and so they'll be handling JT Erickson there.
And he almost gets to the first down. It looks like he's going to be about 1 yard short here, 3rd and 1.
Right. Not bad out of the linebackers, and the defensive line, respectively, has done better this year than it has done in years past. However, I think we can see more, and I'm interested to see how Mountain Vista can improve as the year goes on. Now Pooter will take the snap. 2 receivers on the field. 1 tight end and 2 backs. And they'll send their fullback in motion. Give it to JT Erickson.
And he just gets it.
Barely. Crosses over the 30.
It's going to be a first down here.
Now the question is, Brandon, do you think Mountain Vista has enough confidence and believes in themselves enough at this point in the game, let alone in the season, to believe that they can stop them here?
Well, I think it's definitely a possibility for them to stop them here, but they just need to be able to play the plays right, I think they need to be able to identify what Erickson's going to be going for and try and stop him. And they're really loading up on the line here. They're going to try and stop him. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Satterfield or Leal kind of jet sweep around here. Try and get around that.
Look. They'll hand it off to JT Erickson. And he'll get more yards than expected as he drives it to the 25-yard line. He'll get 5 yards out of that play. I do think they'll probably just be running it for the sake of keeping the clock running as well.
And possession.
Right. But if they get into one of those oh no moments where they are, 3rd down and long, I wouldn't be surprised, like you're saying, if they elected to throw one of those routes.
Yeah, Mountain Vista is going to stack the lineup here again. We're going to have to see what Pooter's going to do to respond to that. Are they just going to keep ramming JT Erickson up the middle, or are they going to try something different to try and catch Mountain Vista off guard here?
Right, and they'll ram JT Erickson up the middle as all 3 linebackers and all 3 defensive linemen rush. And they will lose, looks like 1 or 2 yards on that, and be brought down to the 3rd down with 6 yards to go. Just over 4 minutes, 4 minutes and 8 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Some interesting decisions for Mountain Vista here coming up. How are they going to stack their offense? Their offense, once they do eventually get the ball back, are they going to try to just bomb it down the field? Or are they going to really try to create some separation with the run game? And as JT Erickson takes it here, Mountain Vista's getting some of those questions, but there's a flag on the field.
Well, that was definitely some more good defensive play by Mountain Vista, stopping Erickson for only about a 2-yard gain here, but a flag down, we don't know what's going to happen here.
Right. It could potentially result in first down.
Looks like Cash is going to decline whatever penalty it's going to be. Seems like it's on Pooter.
Interesting.
Yep, it was on Pooter, and Coach Cash has declined it. So it's going to be 4th down here. And I would bet that they're going to bring the field goal unit out again.
Yep, the coaching staff will meet with the players.
Oh.
And so they might go for it. 3 minutes and 37 seconds left in the game.
4th and 4. Do you think they're going to go for it here?
I hope not, because at that point it's just kind of bad sportsmanship. Obviously, I don't want to bash any other team. However, traditionally, if you're up by this margin of a lead with this little in the game, you don't really want to rub it in.
Where's camera bag number 2?
They're taking some time to decide. It looks like Cash thinks that they're going to.
They're taking some guys off here. It looks like they're thinking it's going to be a field goal here.
I don't know. It's kind of odd that. Oh, it's a Mountain Vista timeout.
No. They're still out there. McFadden, Erickson, Satterfield, the whole bunch.
They're going to go for it.
Looks like they brought out Zach Leal and number 7 Stribling out again.
And Mountain Vista is going to blitz all of its linebackers and get them on the encroachment. Interesting. They figured that Mountain Vista's defensive line had the snap count figured out.
Down.
That'll give them the first down.
Well, that pretty much just threw away the game right there.
It is a very slim chance that Mountain Vista can come back from this.
Well, I mean, you got to admit that's a great play.
That was.
What are you going to do to try and get the 4th down conversion?
Very small play.
Best
Or
idea.
Smart. Absolutely. Football is as much a game of chess as anything else. It's not all just this giant warmonger team against another. There's a lot of strategy involved, just as we saw.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you need less than 5 yards, how are you going to get that? The first thing to try always is try and get a fake snap.
Right.
And I mean, it worked perfectly.
It did. And now we're creeping down to 3 minutes left in the game as Pooter is on the, looks like, 10-yard line, poised to score again.
Yeah. I would bet that Erickson gets to add to his touchdown tally here. Oh, Satterfield.
And they'll stop him from behind the line.
Well, they tried that Satterfield sweep again. This time it didn't work as well.
Right, and this defensive stop doesn't have a huge impact for Mountain Vista, aside from game film next week.
Another timeout from Mountain Vista here. They'll have one left after this one.
I think that now is the time to use it.
Definitely. Considering there are no 2-minute warnings in
Right.
high school football.
Absolutely. 2 minutes and 43 seconds left. 3rd down, 6 yards to go. Ball on the 15. Yeah. I don't know.
Look at this nerd doing AP Calc. What?
And Mountain Vista will take it. Or, excuse me, Pooter. Still shy of the first down. Another 4th down situation for Pooter. It'll be interesting to see what they do here. Do you think they'll try and do the fake snap count again?
No, I wouldn't bet on it this time. I think what they're probably going to do is just go for the field goal here because now it's a lot better range. And I think it would be good for them considering their kicker did miss the last one. Number 92, Noah Ford, he did miss the last field goal attempt. So, I mean, I think trying another one from this range, which is a lot more likely to go in pretty easily, I think building up his confidence is a lot more valuable than just trying to end the game right now, considering they're already up by 14 points.
Absolutely.
But it seems like their coach does not agree with me.
Right. I don't really agree with their coach necessarily either. I don't think Coach Cash agrees with their coach either. Traditionally, at this point, you want to set an example to the players, and it just doesn't seem like they're doing that.
We have to see what they're going to do here, though. I would bet on Erickson.
or they're going to run out
Or
the
they
clock.
don't know what play they're doing.
And they'll burn their last timeout. Or second to last. Some miscommunication there. Maybe the quarterback disagreed with the call to stay out on the field.
Coach might have just had second thoughts here. You never know.
Right.
We'll have to see what they do when we come back here.
Welcome back. The Pooter offense is back out onto the field. No kicking squad here. Troy McFadden will be looking, I guess, to resolve his vendetta from last year.
Yeah.
As there's 2 minutes and 38 seconds in the game with 35 for Pooter and 21 for Mountain Vista.
Looks like a read option for Troy McFadden, and he kept it. So it's going to be a turnover on downs here. Mountain Vista's going to get the ball.
And this will be a good opportunity to see how Mountain Vista holds themselves in one of these opportunities where at this point they're playing for pride and for film in the film room that they can study from. So I'll be interested to see, do they have Campbell in? Do they have Wetzel in? Number one. And number two, kind of what are they going to run? As they run with kind of reckless abandon here, at least I would hope. And so Campbell is taking it, and it's a low snap again.
Oh, and he's under a lot of pressure.
And getting close to a safety, and so he'll throw it out of the end zone.
I'm really surprised that they haven't brought out number 20, Matt Smith, again for this drive. I have to say, I've been really impressed by him. He's only a sophomore.
Absolutely.
And he's probably been the most productive runner on this team.
Oh, for sure. And additionally, I'm surprised Whiteside hasn't been out at all since the first. There's 2 minutes and 27 seconds left in the game. And so I would think that you would want to at least get that guy back out there once.
Yeah, get him some more reps, definitely.
Right, and almost another safety as Campbell will just take it and run it out of the sidelines. And almost some contact outside of the sidelines there. Pooter bringing a lot of pressure around the edges there. And Mountain Vista trying desperately to avoid the safety.
Yeah, I agree with keeping Lancaster in because it's important to at least get him a full rep.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I mean, I'm surprised they haven't either brought back on Colton Whiteside or played Matt Smith in again.
Right.
Because I think you need to get Colton Whiteside out again just to at least improve his confidence, let him show what he can do when he's pounding up the middle. And I would say Matt Smith deserves a start right now out of the three of them.
Right. At this point, I'm almost wondering if Whiteside mouthed off to a coach or was injured or something that could have hindered his chances, or if Matt Smith and Noah Hicks are just the better running backs.
Yeah, especially because I'm not.
Oh, tip pass
that's
and
a pick.
Picked off by Pooter.
I mean, nothing you can do about that for Campbell Lancaster.
Right.
Just don't. The only important thing about that is just not let that affect your confidence.
Right.
There's nothing you can do.
Campbell should be proud of himself this game because he's really stepped up and become a leader for this team. Mm-hmm. Especially, I know I talked about it before, that one play where he stepped out of the pocket and threw it to Tristan Smith. And I think they scored off of it, or at least they got the first down. That was a big man play.
It was.
And so Campbell should be proud of himself when he looks back in the film room on Monday because he's done a dang good job out here.
I would agree completely, yeah. I think interesting thing here, Caden Wetzel's coming out to play strong safety.
Really?
Yeah, number 3.
Really? Yeah, because they had Jared Cooper out almost the whole game until these last quarter.
It'll be interesting to see how he's going to perform in his new role, considering he was a quarterback for pretty much most of his high school football playing time, and now they've just pretty much moved him to exclusively be a strong safety.
Right, and it looks like Pooter is going to kneel it to finish up the game. I'm thankful that they're not running it here because the trend that they were following with not bringing out the field goal unit was like they were going to run it here and just try to score again. I guess you can do that with 2 minutes left, but you guys are definitely going to win the game there. And so it's kind of them to kneel it now at this point. It shows some character.
Well, I mean, what are some of the things that you think Vista could take out of this game, Jacob?
Well, I think a lot of it, Campbell, while he's done an amazing job, he needs to read more and throw to maybe some of his other receivers. And at the same time, it goes both ways. Well, also the offensive line, I know they are under a lot of scrutiny everywhere. Offensive line never gets enough credit for what they do. However, I think they need to work on their pass blocking.
I would say they were definitely subpar today.
Absolutely. And then on the defensive side of things, the linebacker core has done a good job. They've done a better job than what we've seen before, but it's not where they need to be.
I would say that the entire defense so far has improved. I mean, we saw that
absolutely.
What was it? A pass pulled out of the hands of number 7, dribbling in the corner of the end zone by number 2, Bryce Williams at the safety position. I mean, that's a great play.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that they've definitely performed above expectations here, and I would hope for them to be able to continue that run going forward into the next games.
Right, and so this was a good trial run for Mountain Vista. They're a younger team. They're less experienced than last year. However, I feel like they have way more heart than last year. This time they let their head take the game instead of their emotions. And so while they allow themselves to tap into their emotions, to play with passion, to play with pride, they don't let it dictate them when they're getting low. And so I'm proud of the way that Mountain Vista handled themselves. I'm just excited to see how they can improve.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think of the running back situation now? I mean, Colton Whiteside played decently in the first quarter. I would say honestly, I think that the coaches weren't giving him the right run plays to be called.
Right.
I think they were trying to run him laterally too much, not enough vertically.
I agree.
And so they took him off. He didn't really play after the first quarter.
Yeah, and something interesting happening here. It looks like Pooter didn't quite calculate the time correctly. And so now Mountain Vista will have 7.9 seconds on offense to score a defense or a touchdown on offense.
Oh, boy.
Given the opportunity. And so if I was Campbell, air it out.
Go long.
Go for it. But they're running down the clock, 2-1.
I was going to say, yeah. They're just
And
gonna let
that's
it go.
game.
Yeah, though. So, as we saw, Colton Whiteside played in the first quarter. I would say didn't get the right calls from the coaches.
Right.
Got taken off. Didn't see him again, really.
Right.
Noah Hicks came on. Did an average job, I would say.
He's okay.
Yeah, he's definitely I would say he's one for next year when he's a senior.
Right.
But definitely surprise of the night, Matt Smith.
Oh, absolutely. If it was me, I would split time between Colton Whiteside and Matt Smith and then have Noah Hicks as the backup guy for when they're gassed.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think because I would say that definitely Whiteside is a bruiser back.
Right.
And Matt Smith is a fast, agile, smaller back.
Absolutely.
That they can use for those more lateral runs.
Absolutely.
Like pitches and whatnot. And I think that Noah Hicks is an interesting hybrid of the two, and I think he really just needs to work on his skills a bit more, on his reads
Right.
and whatnot.
He's kind of got to pick one or the other.
Yeah, I think that he's a bit too general for this team, and I think he needs to decide which one he wants to be.
Right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in with us tonight. Thank you for watching the Mountain Vista Golden Eagles. As always, you can tune in for our next broadcast. Be sure to catch our soccer game on September the 7th. And as always, thank you very much. Good night.